us in the bathroom at the Golden Globe story?
I'm at the urinal.
James Cameron was in the bathroom.
Crazy people. Or like
Johnny
Ridley
Depp?
Scott or somebody.
Connolly comes walking, and what do I say?
All right, cover up, gentlemen. We got a peeker in here.
You can see everyone
And
covering
everyone
up,
goes,
too.
I thought we were going to maybe play a little Jane's Addiction superhero, being that it's officially Entourage week. What's up, Matt? How you doing today?
Entourage week, the best week of the year. I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I love that it's Entourage week. And yes, we have it's the show that a lot of you on Twitter have been saying to me, you guys posted about it in November. What happened?
We're just keeping them on their toes, but it is finally here.
It's here.
I'm fired up.
We got to sit down with Kevin Connolly and Kevin Dillon, two of my dear friends who shocked. Like, I know we even talked about it, I think, in the actual interview, which we'll get to, but you and Connolly definitely were around each other in the 2000s, for sure.
Yeah, we had a couple interesting Hollywood run-ins. So I've known him forever. I'm probably as long as you, as far as just like running in his circle for a little bit. Dillon I had never met, which was awesome to hang out with him. He was exactly how you described, like the best, a little crazy, a little off the wall, but like just the best, man. Like he was just awesome. Like I felt like we were best friends, honestly. But it was fun. It was for me. It was really fun, just throwing it back because it's one of my favorite shows in that time. Just to see the three of you reminisce, the memories, the moments. It brought back so much, and it was just fun. Those guys, it was like you guys have never, like, you haven't missed a beat, just ribbing each other, jokes and all that. It was awesome.
It's always something where even I remember this from the last time we were all together. I think it was like this past September. When we're all together, it's just different. I guess in the sports world, it's almost like, back in the day, if you saw Kobe and Shaq, they'd obviously be excited to see Kobe. I'm not comparing us to the Lakers, by the way. Everyone calm down. But like when you see people who are known for a thing together in their real life outside of that thing, it confuses people, and I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, they jump on. It's really, now we're prepared for 10,000 reboot questions, which honestly have been happening ever since early last year. But you fit right in. If you haven't seen Matt's audition, by the way, we put you through the ringer a little bit.
Dude, it was funny while we were doing it, but I was trying to lock in, and
you took it serious.
I did, and after watching it, it was actually really. It was just maybe Dillon's just so funny, man. That was great. I want to ask you just really quick, like I know you guys don't get together very often. I'm sure you're on a text chat. I'm sure all those things and like that. But what is it like for you just when you're back with those guys? When I was sitting there with you, and again, this was a couple of months ago, but honestly, when I was sitting there with you and getting to know you now over the last 6 months, I saw like a different, not even a different side of you, but I saw a side of you that's like, those are like, that was a big part of your life. You know what I mean? Like it was really cool to see the interaction between you guys. I thought it was pretty neat to see.
We have such a shorthand together, like everything is a memory. Right. Every story that pops up, it really, and that's how I think you could really tell the test of any friendship, whether it's a former teammate or just a friend from high school, where time will go by because, they all have kids, I have kids, you have kids. Mm-hmm. We're all busy. Time will go by, but it's that friend whether it's a phone call or you see him out or you're together for something and it's like no time has passed. And that has always been what it's like. I've gone a couple of years even without seeing Grenier. And then when I see Adrian, I felt like he's been in my life this entire time. And I think that really is what the show always tried to do, was capture that fun friendship part. And I just think we always had that. And I don't think it's something you can cast. Right. Similar with the team, I don't think it's something you can draft. You hope it happens. It's like that magic in a bottle.
I think championship teams in sport are all about personalities and getting different personalities to mesh, and just you play for one common goal, right? That's just to win a championship. The same with making a show. You want to put out the best show, and you guys got to mesh and all that. And it is there. It was very cool to see. I'm going to ask you now, and you just mentioned Reboot. what is the latest with an Entourage reboot, and will we ever see one?
So, in my opinion, I never thought it would ever happen, and it probably still won't. But for the first time, for me, I could say I see it now. I have not seen it since the movie came out, and the movie did just did okay. It wasn't as good as we hoped it would be, but a lot of other things were going on then, like culture was changing, and we for a while after the movie became like, people forgot and tried to claim like Entourage wasn't really a thing. We talked horrible to each other, and we can't do that stuff again. Now, did we say awful things to each other on the show? Absolutely. Did it come from a weird place of love? Absolutely. And I do think there will be a show, whether it's an Entourage reboot or some other show, that does go back and capture that male adult friendship bromance that I just don't think you have on TV right now. Is there one? Can you find one right now?
There's not. And your show, your show just stands the test of time. You could turn that show on right now. Cole, my 18-year-old son, college kids now, high school, pro, like they could watch that and relate, and that's what makes the show so great. And you always talk about this, how athletes always recognize you. They were with you at the Fanatics party last week. Like they just like Turtle from Entourage is an iconic figure. That's an iconic show. I think, I just think a reboot. I think something would still translate in today's world, almost even better in today's world because of just access and social. And now I just feel like especially with college kids getting paid, they have their entourage. There's just so many different things now that were different 20 years ago. I'm all in. I'm petitioning now. I know you've educated me on the process. I know there's a lot of hoops to get through and financial stuff and people signing on, all these things. But my God, dude, that thing would to see you guys in your old age as dads and like
I really do think though, Matt, like I said, I didn't see it even like 2-3 years ago. Number one, I had a hard time seeing what these characters would be doing now. Right. And then also, like we said, not trying to even have a big cancel culture conversation, but we had a certain brand of humor that was once acceptable that at some point society told us wasn't acceptable anymore.
Yeah, but I think it's coming back. We're seeing that in all the stand-up shows now. A lot of the comics were getting censored. Now they're just like, we don't care. And I feel like there's a corner being turned with, you can just like, those are the shows, especially on streaming services and Netflix and all that. Like you can pretty much do whatever you want, I would imagine. But yeah, I mean, let's do it, dude. I know your guys.
I feel like I know, and I pitched Connolly a few of like fun stuff. For the first time, I think in a very long time, probably since the movie, I think I know what these characters are up to right now. Now, obviously, it would be Doug Ellen's job to figure that out.
You're filthy rich.
Am I?
Somehow, some way, nobody knows. Or I know your whole thing is you blow your money. I don't like that. I want to keep you rich.
You want to keep Turtle rich?
I love your wife, Bree. You probably marry some A-list actress in the show, Connolly. I don't know.
Maybe like Jessica Alba and Turtle. She's single now.
Of really
maybe
quick,
Jessica Alba and Turtle.
I do want to get Emmanuel on. I know that
Emmanuel Shrieky, who played Sloan.
Who played Sloan. I want to get her on just because I'm a fan and I think she's amazing. But I think, especially after this episode airs and all that, I think we got to get her on and just talk shop. Because
we could do that.
I would love to get her perspective as kind of the lead kind of female in that show, as far as just all that. Because I know you guys are all really tight with her.
Well, also.
Plus, my brother is like one of my.
Entourage didn't have strong female characters, according to what the criticisms were after the show was off the air. And then when I look around, it was Emmanuel Shrieky, Constance Zimmer, Debbie Mazar, Beverly D'Angelo, Perry Reeves. It's like, these were all regular parts of the show.
Ari Piven's wife's, what was her name?
Perry Reeves. She played Mrs. Ari.
Yeah, she was great.
People actually got mad. Like, you didn't even give her a name. It was a joke for 7 years that her name didn't cut. Like, that was the whole point.
There you go. I didn't even know her name.
The whole point. Her real name was Melissa on the show. So anyway, I think without further, you know what? We have a little business to do before we get to the Entourage guys. We got to hear from our good people at Wendy's. I think I know what you're going to want to talk about today, which I'm fired up about. So it's time for Fresh Moves of the Week, brought to you by Wendy's. Go to Wendy's, taste the difference in a hamburger. Matt, what is our fresh move of the week?
Well, first of all, it's actually a nice little pivot because your boy Connolly is a diehard hockey fan, right?
Massive hockey, like me
we're
with
gonna-
basketball, massive hockey fan.
So diehard hockey fan. We're going to dive into this episode in a second with the Entourage guys. But before this hockey Four Nations face-off is awesome. It is must-see TV. And basically what it is, I was just looking this up. There's not an All-Star game this weekend or this past weekend for the NHL. So instead of that, they did this Four Nations face-off. 4 teams. It's Canada, Finland, Sweden, U.S. Little round robin tournament, the finals, whatever. The finals are on tonight, USA, Canada. But before we dig into that for a second, did you see last weekend 3 seconds in the just full brawl to start?
It was so wild. It almost if I didn't know better, the conspiracy part of me was like, oh, they planned that for the ratings. They just wanted they planned in advance. They did it. No, I think they planned in advance to fight because they don't like each other. That's what it was. There's no love lost there.
Well, the whole conversation last weekend was NBA All-Star Game, right? And all the negativity and how do you get ratings? How do you get eyeballs? Well, you just look at, and this is the difference. I'm not going to dive into NBA, but the hockey, just 3 seconds in, USA maybe is it fair to say maybe little brother to Canada and hockey? Just, I think maybe.
Yeah, it's their national sport. It's their national sport.
Now, we've gotten a lot better. Obviously, we're very good, but just, we're behind in the U.S. in hockey traditionally over the past, 40, 50 years. They hate each other, and you see the stars playing, which is awesome, right?
Getting injured left and right, guys going down.
McDavid and Crosby are playing for. The who's who are playing. Drew Doughty, I'm a big fan of Drew Doughty, plays for the Kings. And 3 seconds in, they just start, the Chuck brothers, they just start brawling. And it gets people fired up. People want to see. And now what they've done is, not the fact that they're back in the finals later on tonight, millions of people are gonna watch that tonight.
Must watch
because
for you. Must
it
watch,
has
right?
It has the Olympic feel, and I think that's the cool. It's about your country. I think NHL hit a slam dunk doing this thing. It is unbelievable.
To make a Wendy's reference, the NHL to the NBA said, "Hold my burger. Watch this."
Yes, they did.
And then let me tell you, it worked. You're right. They captured and it's must watch. Tonight is must watch.
Are you going to watch it? I'll be watching.
Are you kidding? Words I never thought I'd say unless the Stanley Cup were on and the Rangers were in. Must watch hockey.
Do you
tonight.
think there will be another? I think there could be a fight. I don't think there'll be a fight to start the game.
I don't think it'll be to start the game, but I think if it's 1-1 or 2-2 in mid third period and it's getting chippy and guys are getting hit left and right, I think we're seeing a fight for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Shout out to the NHL, man. By the way, instead of an All-Star weekend, we're just going to have a Four Nations World Tournament, which has been the best thing
they weren't afraid to break the tradition. Oh, this is what we always do.
The problem is you need your best players to buy in, and that ship has sailed with the NBA.
Very true. Very true. All right. Thank you to Wendy's. And all right, we made you guys wait enough. Let's bring in Kevin Connolly and Kevin Dillon on Throwbacks. Okay, when it comes to making the best hamburger around, the basics matter. And Wendy's, they've really got those burger basics on lock. And boy, does it show.
So what's the secret to all those hot and juicy hamburgers? It's simple. Wendy's always crafts their hamburgers with that fresh, never frozen beef they're famous for. The result, hot and juicy, beefy hamburger perfection every time. No matter which hamburger you order from the Wendy's menu, you already know that thanks to those Wendy Burgers basics. It's going to be exactly what you were craving.
So as long as you crave a hot and juicy hamburger, that'll work. A hamburger made fresh just for you, not waiting for you. After all, the perfect burger doesn't spend its time waiting around. So when you want a hot and juicy hamburger made fresh just for you, it's got to be Wendy's. Fresh is kind of their thing,
Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada, not available in Hawaii.
Should we settle it today?
Dude, we've done this in front of the whole crew. They are exactly the same height.
Whatever it is.
Hold on,
But when
save it.
Jerry's
We're recording.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're live.
Jerry's going to get fitted golf clubs, and I said, just get 2 pairs. Just get 2 of the exact same size.
By the way, I
Yeah,
never
but his
thought-
club head speed's a lot faster.
Right, well, I didn't
so
even
don't
know
you
that
can
I
do
never
about
thought
that.
we'd start this episode with doing a height check, but we got to do a height check.
Do you want to do it?
I mean, do you want to do
And
it?
then we're going to do a swing
Let's set
speed
this up,
check.
okay?
So we're going to have to get you senior shafts, Kevin.
Now, I don't care about being short. I've been short my whole life, so it's not a big shock when people are like, "Oh, you're so short." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, Dick. I've been short."
Well, that's what I was saying. I was like, I'm just waiting for somebody to acknowledge that you and I are the
This
same.
is
What do
a
I
meaningless
always-
point. We have gotten these guys back to back so many times on the show in front of the whole crew. They're exactly
You do
the
shrink
same
as
height.
you get older, though.
Exactly the same height.
Somebody spoofed us. Remember they did it, and I was a girl. A girl played me, and someone played. They're like, "How do you feel about playing a girl?" I'm like, "I'm just happy that they finally acknowledged that I'm
That
taller
got the
than
height
Jerry."
right?
I'm glad that
What,
somebody got.
do you remember
that right.
my
Do you remember that
response
one?
to you every
Weird.
time you'd say you were a half inch taller? What do I always say? Do you remember?
What is it?
I say, yeah, but I just look.
Oh
bigger.
yeah. I
look
just
bigger.
feel
I just feel
bigger and
taller.
taller than you.
Do you want to do this right now?
Well, that's 'cause
Look,
you were-
by the
there we
way,
go.
I
You
will
were
say,
bigger than him.
I 100% have shrunk in the last 10 years.
I think Connolly's a little older than you. He may have shrunk more though.
Well, I got to stand up and see.
There could be shrinkage. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, I mean, we've done this a million times. These guys are identical. Yeah,
Who's got it?
you know,
I would say Connolly's got a little
hair.
Are you saying I've used bigger product?
So can we finally
hair
say
must-
we're just the same?
I
got
got
it.
You're splitting hairs, but I would say Connolly probably by a hair.
A little bit. Nothing crazy.
Well, I tried calling you last week because Matt on the podcast, we were talking about the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. And then he asked me a question that really, I'm like, oh, Connolly would love this question. You would too. Matt asked, all right, if Jake Paul calls you and Connolly, or even me and you, but let's use me and you because now we're the same size.
Right.
And they're like, hey, $1 million apiece.
Fight him at the same time.
You and Jerry get in the ring on the undercard of Tyson Paul.
I
Are
thought
we-
you were
are
saying us
you-
fight him at the same
No,
time.
no,
No, I wouldn't want to
Can
do
I
that.
ref
That sounds
it,
awful.
at least? Can I be
Yes,
the
you
ref?
could
How about this?
It
Is
sounds
there
awful.
someone that you would want, that you hate so much, you dislike? I asked Jerry this, like that you would actually do, like, I want to go in a boxing match and beat the shit out of him.
I'd rather fight like in a bar or something.
Yeah. Who's it in the bar?
Not in a bar, but I don't know. Like,
a
it's
street
something, or
fight?
just have
I
it
asked
happen.
you this
I'd
week,
rather
like,
just
who was your
happen.
arch nemesis? It
Did
was
I have
It was
one?
Seth Green.
Oh,
His
I was
character-
like,
you know what's
like
funny?
the characters
I
would
saw
have
him
definitely
2 days ago. I got
I
a
saw
picture.
it.
I saw Seth. He's
You ran
great.
into him?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got a
at
picture on my
Starbucks.
phone.
He
At
still
Starbucks.
leans into the
Oh, he loves it.
He's
Vinny
gotta be the
Chase and the
same height.
Chasers.
Oh, he's the
He
best,
does-
man.
loves
He's such a good
Yeah,
dude.
he's
He was telling me he could whoop both of you guys.
remember
I'm
remember
kidding,
the
I'm
fight scene? We had to do the fight scene in Vegas. Do you remember that story?
I was trying
And
to
you
tell
were just
Matt,
like, I just can't be whooped by Seth. I don't care what happens. I just can't.
could
be
we all
whooped by
agree
Seth.
no actor wants to get their ass kicked on film?
Right. We
It's
should
just
have
not
doubt.
a-
we should have thought about it. So the way it works, you show up and there's a rehearsal, right?
Right.
So the first thing is a stunt rehearsal. So we're all sitting there. Remember this?
I do.
We're at
very
Body
well.
English in the Hard Rock. We have our coffees.
We're shooting there.
You
We're shooting.
remember
No,
that place,
7 in the
Matt,
morning.
huh?
The cameras.
Yeah, I
are there.
remember that.
We're like sitting there and like all right, rehearsal's up, and then the stuntmen go through the thing. I see this dude get launched over the balcony. I was like, whoa, who's that guy? And he's like, oh yeah, that's you. I go,
That
cut.
would never happen.
I said, are you guys serious? What, I'm just gonna get bounced off every wall in the place
On
by
my own
Seth?
show.
No chance. And Seth's like, well, look, you could argue I'm doing you guys a favor. I don't know that I should get bounced.
Right, why are you gonna
out.
make the cameo
And
get his ass
and
kicked?
then Seth says, let's just see what happens. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, man,
Wow.
this is turning into a
Really?
nightmare. Yeah.
Seth said, well, let's just roll and see what
So
happens.
did you fight him?
Well, we rolled for half a take, and then I said, yeah, let's see what happens.
So when you roll and you see what happens, you're just obviously.
Well, I'm
off
thinking
script.
like, you
You're
know,
just-
Seth is one of those guys that could easily be like a double jujitsu black belt. Quietly.
True.
He's like that
So
guy.
you were like, damn, I might get my ass. He
I
might
was
actually
thinking, like,
take this serious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And remember too, like Adrian for a second was like, "What do I do?" We're like, "You do nothing. You stand off
drift
to the
back to the
side,
bar."
and you do absolutely yeah. No actor wants to get beat up.
Right.
Dylan, have you done scenes where you had to lose a fight? Because Johnny Drama was
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
one shot dude.
Johnny always won. He was the hero of that scene too. I stepped in
Yeah.
and like,
You were. Well, you solved the Seth Green event.
yeah, I'm always there for you guys.
But you've had to take a couple of
I've
beatings in your
I've been
career, right?
I've been in movies
smacked around
where
with a
I
blob
had to
left and
lose.
right.
Yeah, it sucks.
No esteem.
sucks.
Remember?
Are
Yeah.
you like
That was
how fast are you? So you don't do. So there's no stunt doubles for those, right? So there are.
There
But
are.
when you guys aren't doing like these big crazy action scenes, but
On that one, there
like when
wasn't
you're
any.
getting
didn't
hit
have
and you
the time.
lose, are you like, hey, hit me a little bit here or slap me or something like?
Yeah, sometimes I'll say, yeah, let's
Like,
not do it a million times, but let's get one good one for the camera where you could really give me a good
Like
slap,
Tyson
you know?
slapped Jake Paul. Like that was a real slap.
You guys on the Victory podcast, did you ever tell the Klitschko fight story?
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've told.
So
that
we
one
could
a
talk
few
about it
times.
real
Yeah,
quick.
of course.
All right. So one of the first live event things we ever shot at, I think even before the Laker game, because it was like episode
That was
3. It was
the
the
first
first
one,
we shot, HBO did the fights. We shot at a Klitschko fight, right? And it was the first time we were doing this sort of thing. It's funny because I was at Staples Center 2 weeks ago and we did that exact walk we do after. And we're all sitting together in a row. And then Luke Wilson is doing a cameo, doing us a solid real quick when we couldn't get cameos at all.
So he's with
in the
us.
beginning. So he's
Well,
with
all
us
of us
at the
sitting
fight
there.
and we see him later. But we're doing the fight part. And I want to say, was it all of like Klitschko's family in front of the
There was a
row in front of us?
Klitschko.
Should I defer to you? Do you
in front of
remember
us.
it clearly? Because
No, I just remember there's a row of
big
giant
guys, just
dudes in
giant
front. Yeah.
Ukrainian
Big
dude,
Ukrainian
whatever.
dudes, yeah.
So at one point, I feel like they were just standing up a lot during the fight, and Luke was like, "Hey, like down in front, like sit."
No,
like,
wait, hold
no,
on.
am I wrong?
Kevin Connolly took
This
a
has got
piece of
nothing to
paper,
do-
crumpled it up, and threw it at
that? I
them.
threw a
And
pretzel.
said,
I
"Hey,
threw a piece
sit
of
down." He
pretzel
threw a
at them.
piece of paper and hit one of
a
the guys. in
pretzel.
the
No,
head.
no.
Pretzel.
Do you remember who it hit?
I threw Lennox Lewis.
Lennox hit
Oh, he
Lennox
hit-
Lewis in
all
the
right,
back
he
of the
hit-
Wait,
head.
so
But
you
I-
did that as part of the show,
Yeah.
or just okay.
Yeah. No,
He,
that's
you
not-
actually hit
No,
Lennox
no.
Lewis.
Oh,
in
you're
the back
just
of the head.
fucking
He
around.
did that on his own.
Yeah,
Wait,
whatever.
why are
He
you-
went rogue.
Why are you
We
throwing?
were supposed to be rowdy, and I
being
got
rowdy.
hit.
Oh, you were being
I hit him
rowdy.
I
Queens
don't think
guys.
he meant to hit Lennox. I think
mean,
he
we
was
were
going
on-
for someone else.
Right, but we were on. I knew we were
Did
on
that,
camera.
those guys know that you were filming behind you? That's the
No,
whole
no
point.
one knew.
No one knew.
No
They
one
didn't
knew
know.
but us. And then
But he
at
slapped Luke
at
Wilson,
some
right?
point, one of the giant, I don't know if he was a Klitschko relative or not, just turned around, open hand, smacks Luke Wilson in the face.
And
we
he's
all,
no punk. Luke
yeah,
Wilson's no.
we
no,
all
he's-
kind of like
he's no
snap into
pushover.
action for a minute, and then you just look at the size of the whole row in
I was
front.
like, we're gonna get slaughtered.
Like,
here.
We were in
I was like,
trouble.
we're
Talk
gonna
about
get
getting beat up
murdered.
on your own show. That would have been.
Yeah.
That
Would've
would
been
have
Did any
been.
of
Separate.
that make the? Did that make?
There's
the,
video of it. It did not make the cut, but that's on film.
Film.
Oh, so
That's
in
on
that
film.
episode, you can see some of that happening, like the.
Oh yeah.
No, not really.
No, I mean I don't
No.
think
You
you
won't
I don't
see
think
any
you'd
of
feel the
that.
tension, but you could probably ID those dudes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we.
Good idea.
That was a good one.
Would you say we were like a competitive group? The three of us, I should say, within each other.
Of course.
Right.
Overly.
Three of us, you just leave out Adrian.
Adrian's not a competitive guy.
And
right?
any sport, if we're playing basketball, if we're throwing snowballs at each other, if it's anything.
Yeah.
So I-
Pinball.
I talk
you
about
are
this
like
with
lunatic
Matt,
person.
and Matt's been in some movies. He's been on sets. We're gonna get you later with something, but I think actors don't always get reputations of being like tough or whatever. You two have, and I say this to my dying day, I would put what you guys did up with any NFL injury, anything, because you saved the photo shoot that was not going to happen. We finally got, this is like season 4. We got excited because we got the Entertainment Weekly cover, which is a big deal at the time.
I don't even think it was that, bro. I think
it was
was
our
like,
first cover,
I think it was
too,
like
maybe.
no, it was something bigger than that. It was like Vanity Fair.
Or Vanity
No,
Fair.
yeah.
I thought it was Entertainment
no,
Weekly.
it was like
which
the inside.
we were the cover
Yeah,
story,
yeah. It was-
inside
yeah,
part.
yeah.
And you find out weeks in advance, and then I know you guys have maybe told it,
The
but
night
we're
before.
the night before,
Yeah.
maybe it was 2 days before, or the night before, we're shooting a scene where, and it was like a nothing scene. Connolly's character pulls up. We're just shooting around in like the driveway, and Adrian and Dillon in character are just like shooting around, playing a little one-on-one almost, but not like half speed, right? And
Dylan
then
was
what
trying to
did a
happened?
layup,
But
basically.
you
a
were
little
trying
finger
to like
roll.
make some moves, like you tried to do like a weird
And-
shake and like
And Adrian was trying to play a little too much defense at that stage.
he's
Kinda
not gonna
arms
play
underneath
offense.
me,
Feet dangling
and,
everywhere.
he's not going to be
Super
playing any
quick.
offense. So he
Anyway,
just
I
tees
landed
up.
on his foot.
Yeah.
My hand
you
landed
were
in
going
between
down.
the pavers.
Yeah,
They
you
put
were
it-
going down.
They put the basketball hoop in a terrible spot because it looked good for the shot.
It was
But
uneven.
My hand landed in between the pavers. I had a compound fracture in my arm.
it was gnarly, man.
It
I just-
popped out.
I remember Dillon falls and with his arm down, and he just starts going broken arm, broken arm, broken arm, and we're like, okay, dude. And then where we shot, there was a fountain, and his instinct was he put his arm in the fountain. He was looking for something cold,
cold water.
anything
Yeah, 'cause
cold.
it was burning.
And
They
then
were
when we
like,
looked
let's
at
get
it,
the
we were
medic
like,
up
it
here. I
was-
was like,
it was-
get me a
Holy
van
It was
immediately.
a gut wrenching.
we called Doug. Didn't you call
Scream.
Doug Allen? You're like,
Connolly, I was
show's
worried
over,
about
bro.
Connolly.
Wait, so you
Connolly
stopped-
turned green.
We had to
Stop
stop
the
was.
episode.
Oh, we shut
Well,
down.
yeah.
The next day is what the photo.
The
shoot
next
for the thing, and
morning
you just,
is the photo shoot.
So I had
with
a
me.
I went to Cedar Sinai and I had they operated on me. They put a plate in there and a bunch of screws.
We all think, all right, we're clearly not doing the photo shoot. We're concerned about him. So it's like, all right, maybe we'll get the photo shoot down there. And then like Rocky Balboa, it's like, no, bro, I'll be at that photo shoot.
Yeah.
I think
Next
you got
morning.
It was our
hurt-
first.
got
It
hurt
was our
on
first
Friday.
cover. I was
You
like,
got
we got to make
You
it.
got hurt on Friday. You got the surgery on Saturday, and you were at the photo shoot on Sunday in Pasadena.
And if you look,
that's what it was.
they put,
No, it
'cause
was the next day.
I think it was the next
the next
day.
It was the next day. It was Saturday.
splitting hairs.
We'll
here. You
show
broke-
these
busted your
photos.
arms.
Yeah, no, it was the very
you
next day.
broke
I
it,
promise.
surgery and photo shoot the same day. We'll just tell that fucking story.
We'll show the
There you go,
photos
it
though.
sounds even better.
And he's in,
But you
like,
know what? I'll
you're
tell
in
you
the
what. If you
bathroom, you're in a
see
weird
if you see
bathroom.
the cover, I look so bloated because I was on an IV the whole
I'm
time.
gonna look it
so
up.
I look really puffy.
And we
you
hid
know,
your
but-
hand in
Yes,
every
I
photo.
had to hide my arm behind some of the other guys.
And is there
It
still
came out
metal in
great,
your
though.
arm from that?
Oh
Did you-
yeah, I still got a
scar, look
plate
at
and I
that.
got screws and.
His is gnarly, bro.
And so that to me is Iron Man. So I'm sticking up for our actors. And then Connolly, speaking about
I'll tell you
our,
the time the hardest hit I ever got hit in the NFL after this.
well, Connolly and I are competitive, I think in a healthy way, right? We talk shit to
fine,
each
yeah.
other. He breaks my balls, 20 and 10. We'll get to that. Don't worry.
You guys
So-
heard
I
Jerry's
hear this
high
guy
school
all about
basketball stat line?
These celebrity all-star games he played in. I'm like, what are we doing?
Average 20 and 10 in high school.
Did he not average 20 and 10 in high school?
What is that?
If
I
you
said
averaged
for like
20
a
and 10,
three-
you would have went to Duke. What are you talking about?
I
Now
said
starting for
freshman
the
Island.
Blue
year.
Devils, 5'6", Jerry
What was
Ferrara.
it? Was it 12 and 10, 10 and you were double average.
I said
That's
for
crazy.
4 games, I went on a run where I had
He
good
actually pulled out
numbers.
an article too. You did pull out a blurb. He did pull out a
I'll
news
be
blurb
at somewhere.
from
I'll
the
hear from
Staten Island
across an
Chronicle.
event. 20 and 10. I'm like, oh, Connolly's here. That's fantastic.
I just think it's an egregious stat. to
You
roll
did have
off
a
your tongue.
great that Super Bowl flag football game.
was
Jerry was unstoppable. He was
You're a good- I think
unbelievable. I'm
you're
sure
a
you heard
very
about that match.
unassuming good
Excellent.
athlete.
Well, this is why we got to get Matt back.
But
so
he was like
He's very
very
good athlete.
ungracious in his MVP. Have you seen this footage? No.
he was. I took on the heel character.
I mean,
like
he
the
was the
late
bad
great
guy.
Tony Saragusa was doing the sideline. Right.
Is this the beach?
This is the
thing?
DirecTV
Yeah.
Beach Bowl.
Okay.
So
But
I
it
caught
looks
a touch.
good on TV. It looks organized on TV. It looks like a real. It was,
I caught a
right?
TD and a 2-point conversion, and Saragusa grabs me. He's like, Jerry, grab it. And he grabs me, by the way, it hurt. He's like such a big guy. And he's like, Jerry, your team's down, but you're playing really well. What would you say to the rest of your team? I just went, play like
Can
me.
you believe this?
Connolly's
Yeah, I can believe
appalled.
it.
He's
I
appalled.
said congratulations, and I can't believe that you would be such a sore winner.
You were pissed.
Wildly unlikable, Jerry. Wildly unlikable.
Well, speaking-
yeah, play like me, he says. And then you had a couple. Didn't you do like a weird
I
spike?
did a sand angel.
Oh, yeah, you
in
did
the,
a
when
sand
I
angel.
caught
That's
one.
right.
Scored a
That's
touchdown
right.
and did a sand angel in the desert.
All right, now you tell me what you think of this, though. So when we're shooting the movie, right, and we had, for whatever reason, we had a lot of NFL players. Everyone, Matt, you should have been there, by the way.
No
But we
doubt.
had Russell Wilson, Clay
Never got an
Matthews,
invite.
Gronk,
Didn't get the call.
Edelman. You remember
the
this,
call.
Dylan?
Yeah,
All these
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
There was like 200.
And we had
cameos.
it was on the beach,
Yeah.
and they're like, you know what's a great idea? Russ, why don't you throw Connolly and Jerry some routes? It's like, all right, so we immediately get competitive. I run.
Jerry does a hitch route.
No. Russ tells me
We
to
know
just
how
run.
that ends up.
He tells me to run an out route, I think, right? Okay, I run a little 5-yard out, and Connolly drops his shoulder and lays me out on the beach.
I wrapped my arms around him like, Jerry, I
dropped
love
me.
you. I had no choice. The camera was rolling.
So now it's starting to get competitive. Now Connolly, we switched. Connolly's on offense. I forget whatever route you
Russ
remember.
airmailed me.
Russ
Hate to say
threw
it.
a high one, but you catch it, right?
No. He didn't
did
want me.
catch it.
He didn't want me to go out, like, because there's the cliff.
Oh,
And
there
I was
was
like,
a
I want to
cliff.
go deep and out into the court. He's like, no, cut in. I was like, no. He's like, we run the play, and he airmails it, threw the ball off the ledge.
Right, but
Never
that's
to be
not when
seen
you
again.
got the injury,
No, then
right?
I said, all right, I'll go in.
Then so
And I came in, and Jerry lined me up and broke.
I lined him up. I wrapped him up. I have him, and then this motherfucker starts extending for
trying
the
to
end
break the
zone.
I was trying to break the plane.
I was gonna let go, but now he's trying to break the plane. So I grabbed tight, and then he like dives for it, and I slid down his body, and we just heard like.
It was like chopsticks. It was
And
like splitting
do
chopsticks.
you remember what I said to you?
Like,
the first
what
words.
was that? I was
I
like,
said,
"That's
"What
my
was that?" He's like,
fucking
"That's my leg."
My leg.
Oh my god.
I was, and by the way, it was first of all, there was a 4-day thing, and this is like 10:30 in the morning on day one. I'm like, dude, I knew I was like, I mean, I f***ed up, really. But are we allowed to curse?
Yeah.
I knew I f***ed that one up.
Right,
It
but
was
do
a
you remember the
stupid thing to
first
do.
attendant on the scene who came up and diagnosed you?
Edelman?
It was
Oh,
Edelman and
Gronk.
Gronk.
Edelman's like,
What a Gronk
You know,
They're telling
Edelman
him
goes,
that-
you're fine, bro. It's a high ankle sprain.
Right.
I was like, I don't
Do you remember
think
what
so.
I said? I said that's broken.
Dylan's like,
Dylan was the
Connolly's
only
hurt.
one who thought it was broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said that's broken.
Connolly
I knew.
works a whole
it had
day.
A little bend in it.
He works a whole day with a high ankle sprain. Gronk's telling him just tie your shoes tight. At the end of the
even
day,
Don't
I'm
take your
tight.
shoes off. Keep them on.
at the end of the day, I just remember looking at Kevin. He's like, guys, I really think I need to go to the hospital. We're like, all right, we finished the day. Let's get him to the hospital. He goes, how many breaks did you have? And you're
No,
like,
we did the third, on the end of the third day, I was like, I can't. I had like tears streaming down my face,
you
but I
remember-
had sunglasses on.
Do you remember
And I
what
was
we
drinking.
did? We had to hit a mark, and he couldn't
that's right.
barely walk. So
Not
I
barely walk. My
in the
leg was
scene, you
broken
can
in
see
3
this in the
places.
scene. I basically I put my arm around
No,
like
you
it's
grabbed me
casual.
by my belt. Right.
I thought I got
No.
Okay,
Dylan,
I grabbed you by the belt and I
couldn't. I
carry
just
him
had to hit a
to
mark
his
that was
mark.
like 5 or 6 feet away.
it looks
You can
natural.
see
You
it
won't-
in the movie though. But
Can you see it?
If
Yeah.
you know it, you
Oh,
can
this
see
is
it.
the movie.
Yeah, he
This is the
grabbed
movie.
the
I gotta
movie,
watch
grabbed me by the
So
back
I was
of my
like, we're
belt
gonna hit
and,
that mark no matter
carried
what.
Me. It looked like I was
kinda-
just like gliding across.
I give him a wedgie and put him on
yeah,
his mark.
That was bad.
By the
man.
way, just actors are tough, man. I just changed all my.
Do you have a different impression now of us?
Not at all. Oh, yeah,
These
no,
three are. They're not all tough.
You know, in
Trust me.
the movie, remember when there's the shot where we're driving the Lincoln through the soundstage?
Yes.
Through
Yeah.
the back lot?
Yes.
That was only because that was us walking. And then when I broke my leg, they're like, let's just put him in the Lincoln. And it ended up
Oh,
on
we
the
gotta drive
poster
you
of the
around.
movie.
Yeah.
So your leg break got us.
No,
that was
I'm
the
just
poster.
saying, like, it added a
Yeah,
nice
you
little.
What's your hardest hit?
So the worst week of my life. So I'm playing. It's 2007. We're playing Pittsburgh at home, and I basically this is James Harrison, Palomalu era, just
Palomalu,
like
God,
intimidating.
beast.
Yeah.
And so I go bootleg, roll out, and James Harrison just comes free. And James Harrison's about 5'10", 250
Yeah.
pounds. That's
Wow.
just-
Squats
He's
like
mean.
a million
He's
He's
just
just
pounds.
mean. He's just mean. And I'm just like, and I immediately, my thought to get out, I see him, and my thought is just to kind of jump and just throw a jump ball over him to the flat and just like take the hit. That's just what happened in real time. That happens. He picks me up like by my waist and just pile drives me straight down.
That sounds
That was
hard.
back
he
when you
couldn't
were
do that
allowed to
now.
do that.
Right.
Yeah,
He-
you can.
he
No,
would-
he literally pile drives me, and so so like I took a lot of guys take a lot of pride. Like if you get hit, just get
back
fucking
up.
get back
Don't
up.
show 'em
I did
anything.
it. I did it when I broke my collarbone. I got back up and I could feel it. I was just like, oh, and I just like in my mind I was like, it's not over, it's not over. And then I'm like, I called timeout. I was like, it's over. This was in Houston, so I'm on the ground and I'm like this, and I'm like, oh, I can't move. I couldn't move my back. I could move everything. I was just like, so it was the only time in my career where I was out, I was down. Like the trainers came out and they're like, you all right? I said, yeah, I think whatever. So I sat out a play. I finished the game.
You finished the game.
Got a little Toradol shot, finished the game.
Wish I had one of those shots.
What kind of shot?
You Connolly.
Toradol right in the ass cheek.
Connolly
dude.
needed a
But
Toradol
that's
shot.
like-
You can't do that anymore.
What does it do? It just buys you
Can't
like a
feel
couple
it.
Basically
hours?
instant. Yeah, it's basically instant like cortisone. It just boom. You have 3 hours. You feel like Superman.
Wow.
So they
But after that 3 hours is up, then
Well,
the
so
come
then
down
that
must
night,
be horrible.
I was like, I basically had a back contusion. My whole lower back, my right butt cheek, all the way down to my hamstring was the color of my pants. You couldn't, it was black and purple.
Oh my God.
So I got all this treatment for 3 days, 4 days. I missed practice. I couldn't move. I played the next Sunday. So Sunday to Sunday, broke my collarbone that next week against the Rams. And we had Kurt
couple
Warner.
weeks
We had Kurt Warner on a
Oh,
couple
right,
weeks ago.
yeah.
And that was like when he took over, and then he ended up taking the job. But it was the worst 7 days. It was fun.
Wow.
James Harrison.
we are
mean,
tough,
he's
but that
scary.
sounds like one of the
No,
worst.
well,
Yeah,
dude,
well,
but
James
bro,
So
but-
what was the
Harrison is like Ray
diagnosis?
Lewis.
Did you?
it was back contusion.
Yeah.
It's like getting hit by a.
But like when you're getting tackled,
Prius,
and you
right?
just
I mean-
you feel your bone crack. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you're like, oh, like, and it doesn't hurt right away. And
No,
then
no,
all of
you got
all of a sudden
adrenaline
it's
and-
like, oh God, like afterward.
The one time I
tough.
was doing this movie in Puerto Rico and I got the flu, and it was the only time that I could not answer the bell, man.
You couldn't work.
I didn't have any dialogue. They're like, all you have to do is stand there. I said, I know. I'm looking at this. I know what I got. I can't.
Should have showed up, bro.
I
Shoulda
can't
showed up.
stand up. I tried, bro. I tried. It was awful.
Hey, you know what's another crazy thing was when I broke my wrist, I got the guy in the van taking me to Cedars-Sinai. He's looking at my arm, so it's my right arm. By the way, I broke them both. That's why you were. But I'm holding up it had an S shape in the arm, and he's looking at it the whole time like
Trying to
he wants
drive
to
you.
throw up. He gets to Cedars-Sinai, pulls up the ramp, runs around to get the door for me. Forgets to put it in drive and park, leaves it in drive, and the thing starts rolling down the
van,
hill.
like a big,
so now I had to
giant van.
reach over.
Someone's trying
and
to kill
stop the
Dillon
brake
today.
As the thing. It was the
Dylan's like
craziest
straddled over the thing, pressing the
thing. I
brake,
was,
trying to put it
man.
in car.
I had
No,
to put the
remember.
brake on.
That was wild.
Crazy.
What a wild
I
time.
was asking Jared this when you guys like going back to the beginning, when you're auditioning for this show, and obviously iconic show, and the chemistry you guys had. What was it like when you first auditioned and you're all getting to know each other? Because I asked Jerry, was like, were you and Connolly boys, or like you guys obviously have a competitive relationship? What were those relationships like early on? Was it like synergy right away?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we had a lot in common, all of us.
Yeah,
You know,
we're all New Yorkers.
And we
New
didn't know each
Yorker.
other. Everyone automatically assumes, oh, you guys must have known each other a little bit, right? And I had never met. I really hadn't worked all that much at that point. I'd done like little things here and there, but obviously I'm like, fuck, I know Dillon from Platoon and The Doors and Connolly. I was watching this sitcom when I was a kid, so I know these guys, right? I know of them, but I always say it's the thing that I think it's similar with sports. We're talking to Flaherty about it too. It's like you can't cast chemistry. It either kind of happens or it doesn't. Now, sometimes you can not have chemistry and a movie or show could still be good, but it helps to have the chemistry. And I do think that we just had it early on. I can't point to why other than maybe it's because we're all from New York. And
Well, I remember when we first met, was at the audition. You were sitting out there. You had a Giants jersey on,
I did have a
believe.
Giants jersey.
Oh, how many
And,
jerseys they've changed?
It might have been LT.
had a
Was it
Giants.
LT?
I think it was Seahorn. I want to say
Seahorn.
Jason
This goes
Seahorn.
back to
as
my
a Giants,
wearing the Bettis,
as a
didn't
Giants
he?
fan, I'm
Well, that
like,
was the
hey, what's
final
up? You
audition.
from
He
New
wore the
York? Get me
Bettis to the
too. I'm like,
finals.
hey, you got another smoke? We were all
Yeah,
smoking
I-
cigarettes.
You're a
Big
Giants
smoke.
fan?
I'm a big
Giants
Giants
fan.
fan. I must have mooched like 5 cigarettes off you. Like,
Yeah.
sorry about that. Then I see him at another audition. Once again, I got no smokes. I'm like,
think I had a
"Hey, you got
different jersey
You
on,
got
too."
another smoke, bro?
You were Bettis.
This wasn't
The first
the
time I
Entourage
met you,
audition.
you were
This,
This was like so.
Entourage.
Oh,
This was
the
Entourage
process-
early on.
Yeah.
I guess we did about 6.
There's a lot of
You know,
auditions.
maybe 4 auditions, and then the screen test.
It
and then
all
they
heads to
paired
like
us up
the
again together.
final day where it's like cut day. It's the test, right? Where the HBO's there, all the producers, and then you're in the waiting room and you have there's 3 actors for Turtle. I could see the other Turtles. You could see
'Cause
the
you
other
have to
E's. There
bring
was no other
options.
dramas. They have
You
to
have
bring
to have
options.
options.
Was there-
I
What-
didn't know there was no other drama.
I
So
tried to
no
tell
other
you-
drama.
I tried to
picked,
tell you.
A couple guys that I
was
thought
there
were
ever
dramas.
so you were auditioning for Turtle with
Yeah.
other guys?
Yeah.
Some of the other guys, did they ever become big time actors?
Yeah, there's
Missed out. You always hear that they could have had that role, but they missed out.
It's not missing out. It's
Not
like
missing-
you're either the guy or you're not the
who
guy.
who were they? You're like
Well, I know with you,
Well,
it was
Dash
you and
went on to be,
an actor
he
named
was
Dash
on Ray
Mihawk, who
Donovan.
was on Ray Donovan
Yeah,
for years. He's been in a million things. He never stopped
works more than anybody. Yeah.
But I know I almost didn't get it because everyone's concern was always like me and Dillon. Like, there's not that big of an age gap, but these guys are supposed to be in high school together.
right.
And I get that's why they made me. That's why Turtle always had a beard. I couldn't even grow a beard back then, and they put me in these baggy jerseys because they were trying to make me look older.
Right.
And basically, they told me if you're not going to get it, it's because you're too young. You're 23 and you look like you're 12.
But
No
for all
one-
the deep dives on the show, nobody
No
ever
one
said a
ever
word.
mentioned there's no way Turtle and Johnny Drama went to high. Never was a thing.
Right. Not one time.
No one ever mentioned it. But yeah, the
Well,
chemistry.
they also made it
of-
like I was left back a couple years later. How
Probably
many
were.
years were
You
you,
were a
in high
holdback.
school?
But I will say too, do you think what Wahlberg did helped? But we shot the
Yes,
pilot, and then when
definitely.
we got picked up, there's a big time gap in between shooting the pilot and when HBO makes the decision, all right, we're gonna go with your show. Once we got word we're gonna start shooting in 3 weeks, Wahlberg says, all right, I'm gonna take you guys on a private plane. Now, I've never flown. I've flown 3 times in my life, let alone on a PJ.
With the Maloofs, right?
Right. We're going to
Pops.
go to Vegas. We're going to go to an HBO flight. We're going to roll together. We're going to research. We're going to do some research. And I remember rolling up to the Burbank airport, I got a tail number about meeting Mark Wahlberg. They're like, yeah.
that's awesome.
Do you remember what fight that was?
It was Roy Jones Tarver. No?
Wasn't it Corrales? Wasn't it something crazy?
Or maybe it was one of the Corrales.
It was the Corrales fight.
yeah, it was an
one
insane
of the-
fight.
Yeah.
But we go on a private plane to Vegas, the 4 of us with Mark and 3 of his boys, and we just had an amazing weekend.
Right.
And came back, and it was very evident at that moment, okay, we got the chemistry, we really do.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
But I guess it's kind of like that in sports too, right? You don't know coming in hey, me and Larry Fitzgerald are gonna have this amazing. You just don't know. It either happens or it doesn't.
How was
I
it?
actually have a theory as well. We were never any competition for each other.
Right.
No.
You know, Kevin and Jeremy were a little bit more experienced and a little bit older.
You just
and,
had your roles and you guys.
Yeah, it wasn't Jerry, Adrian was, in a band as well. And
The Honey Brothers, little
was
indie
never
band.
any real direct competition.
The tricky part was
that makes any sense.
the screen test was knowing who's who. I
You were
remember
calling
at
me
times
E.
I was calling you E, and I'm like, oh wait, he's E. Okay, I gotta figure out who's.
I
who.
did have a surreal Wahlberg moment at the test. You remember what they do is it's almost like the Olympics. You're gonna do your individual read, and then we're gonna pair you up. I go in for my individual read, and it was I thought it was okay. I was just doing what I normally thought I was doing. I come back out to that awful waiting room where everyone's nervous, and Wahlberg comes out. I'd never met Wahlberg at this point, and he's pointing at someone, and he's motioning. I'm like, he's motioning for me. So I walk over, and he puts his arm around me. And he's like, listen, that was fine, what you did in there, but that moment everyone talks about, this is your moment. This is your fucking moment. You're kind of it up. Like, I don't care. He said to me, I don't care about the script. I don't care. Just go do what you've been doing. Be yourself. Stop being nervous.
Right? This is already after.
I didn't get the part.
No,
I made it to the final three. It's like the final three. We're dueling to the death.
So he wanted you. He was like, I want this kid to.
I think in their mind, like maybe I was the leader in the
saw-
clubhouse, but
he
by
saw
no,
you already.
Oh
He
yeah,
already saw you.
He said,
saw
like,
you
I've
audition.
seen your tapes. I know what, like, I don't know if, like, he even said, like, be more New York, like, just have more attitude. And it was like the greatest cup of coffee in there. I remember walking back, like, holy, I gotta step it up. And then what gets real nerve wracking, they send people home.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you can go, Kevin. And then the very end, it was like Kevin, Jerry, and I think it was a different Adrian. You four stay, come on in, and we read together. And you just walk home, and you still don't know.
Then you just wait
you
for the
still
call.
don't know when you leave.
They couldn't get Adrian out of Mexico.
Right, Adrian was like Vince was hiding in Mexico.
Hiding in Mexico.
Adrian wasn't at the test,
so they.
Why was he hiding in Mexico?
God only knows.
I just don't even think that he at that point.
He was like living on the.
Yeah,
he playing guitar and like
he just
walking around.
didn't care.
Mexico.
I don't think he cared much if he got it or not. I didn't think he knew how much he was up for the role.
But he
at that
put
point.
himself on tape, and someone in the office cut my audition and his audition together.
That's his biggest role. I mean, that's
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's Vinny Chase.
I don't think he knew even at
yeah.
the time. And
Hindsight is 20.
Of course, yeah.
I do remember the president of HBO at the time was like, "You guys have no Vince, so you have no show. Show's not getting made." We didn't have Vince at that. We were locked in. Vince was not cast, and then that editor made that tape of Connolly's audition. He cut it with Adrian's audition tape, and Chris Albrecht watched it and went, "Okay, you guys can go make the pilot."
Yeah.
And that was it. So.
And you remember the opening scene, the change of the scene? We shot the original opening of the pilot, which is like a 3 or 4 page scene.
It was I heard it wasn't great.
Yeah. It was us at
Tom Bergen's, wasn't it?
Tom Bergen.
Tom Bergen.
Tom Bergen.
I had a couple nights in Tom Bergen's.
Yeah.
You've definitely had a couple of nights at Tom Bergen. I mean, so
I'm
we're
so
doing
shocked.
this 04. You're at USC. Were you guys like watching Entourage?
Well, me
back
and we ran into each other
Yeah.
far too often. I never ran into you.
Never, yeah, 'cause
so
I was
part of
always
us doing
hiding
this,
out.
we were like talking, like, man, we were in LA at the same time, and I was like, yeah, I used to run into Connolly all the time. Like we were like we saw each other, boys, like whatever. We knew a lot of the people in the same circle. Entourage was number one for all of us, and it was like. I got labeled like going into the NFL, like labeled the Hollywood guy.
That was like what they would say on ESPN. Right?
They
It was like
literally
the Hollywood
would-
quarterback.
I was telling Jerry this story. So I'm in OTAs or summer Arizona rookie year, and there's this middle linebacker, like 8 years in, and he was my boy. But he's like, this isn't a play. We're going like whatever. Vinny Chase is in, boys. Like literally, like I could not escape it. And so he literally to this day, if I saw him right now, he'd be like, "What's up, Vinny?" I was just Vinny to him.
Wow.
And then I never said this before. So I was at the NFL Combine, and in the Combine, you basically do like speed dating at one point. You just go around with every coach, whoever wants to meet with you, 5 minutes, whatever. And then there's about 4 or 5 teams who are interested in seeing where, like, hey, we could draft him here. They'll grill you for like a room like this. You're in front of 8 GMs, all this stuff, and they just grill you. And mine was Sean Payton, and he was with the Saints because they were picking 2, and I was
buddy, right?
Yeah.
Sean's awesome.
He's a great
So
guy. Great.
I'm in this, and I had visited out there. Like it was a real thing. I ended up taking Reggie, my teammate, but it was a real thing for them to possibly draft me. And the whole session was about Entourage and Hollywood.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. He referenced.
Yeah,
he's
like,
like, yeah,
he loves
been
Entourage.
affected
he
by-
was
Oh,
referencing
Entourage.
Entourage and like that I
You were
had.
part of the combine. This is great.
No, and I was a part of because I was just this. I had this label
Like as a concern, like look,
a concern,
you're in
like hey,
Hollywood.
yeah, because they're
Are you
about
going to
to
be
invest.
a problem with
Exactly,
your
they're
entourage?
about to invest millions of dollars.
In
Just
your
like, hey,
entourage.
what's up, Entourage? We have this Entourage thing, like ever, and that was the whole thing.
Wow.
It was maybe 5 minutes of football, and I could like talk football, right? So it was like the other was like, who are these people? Why do you have so many people around you? And it was just like you
You
always
have too many
ask
friends.
Stop hating on entourages, bro.
No, he always says like how he gets like the parallels of athletes having an entourage and how that
It's so strange.
like your show is really like honestly looking back, like I lived that with my entourage of my boys, and I had good ones. I had guys that you just kind of weed out as you get older,
Right.
because they take advantage. All
Well,
that.
they
That's why-
weed themselves out.
or they
eventually.
weed them. That's why
Yeah.
the show is so great because it still stands the test of time. Like it's still like you said, Zion came up to you and
Yeah,
was like,
after a Knicks game one time, I'm getting ready to leave, and I just like this giant clap on my shoulder. And I look at Zion, I literally flinched. I was like, holy shit, Zion Williamson, what's up?
Wow.
He's like, hey man, when I was injured last year, I binged Entourage. I'd never seen it before, and it got me through. And he literally looked at me and he went, I just wish I had like a turtle or a drama. And I like almost, not that I felt bad for him, almost like, man, I hope you got people, and I'm sure he does have good people around him, but he really looked at me and said, I just wish I had like, kind of like what we had on
We
the
did
show.
more than just binge on Entourage. He always packed on a couple pounds.
Well, but now he's in great shape. Now he's in great shape. He's in really, really
sick
good
athlete.
shape.
I always wanted him as a
I mean, it's different, but how you guys are living in that time, like you're consuming your life, you're living it like off camera. In real life, I know we used to run into each other in Hollywood and out stuff. Like, how does it relate to any of you guys? And you're off, or you're just like, this is work. You go to work every day. You get home. You go to your families or whatever. Was there like, were you living that in reality too, to some degree?
Yeah.
Kevin was.
Hindsight. Oh, yeah.
I was
Dillon,
not.
and you were
I was
just
living
at
in
church.
Malibu.
Yeah, you were just at church.
I mean, you're like,
Had a small child at home, you know.
Right. This is ridiculous.
No, but I was a party. I was in a nightclub like you.
No, you were.
I mean, a little bit.
You were on
He
a
was
bar
every night.
stool. You were on a bar stool. I was just in a different format, Dillon. It's the same thing at the end of the day. No. Listen, to a certain extent, like it just kind of. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was what it was. I remember. Do you remember the first? The first time at the Playboy Mansion. You remember that? Jerry and I went to the Playboy Mansion. It was. I mean, it was that kind of stuff. But it's just also a different time then.
Yeah.
Too. People now are just. You're gun shy, right? Nobody.
Yeah.
It's just like everything's on. You're always on.
I feel like
wherever you
Adrian
go,
spoke about this too. I think for him, it got a little blurry at times. Like I'm playing this larger than life movie star, and then he's, in a healthy way, he's going out, living his life, having fun. I think he has talked later saying like, yeah, it got real blurry for me. I was always afraid to like get fired or something because I always felt I was the most experienced on the show. I mean, you say you've been. I mean, when did you start acting?
I mean, I've been doing it for, but it's different. Like Dillon was in
wheel
two
commercials.
Dylan was in
12.
two Best Picture.
Dylan was in
movies.
2 Best
And The
Picture
Blob with the greatest hair in the history of cinema.
So for me,
Nice
I was
mullet.
always
I had
like,
a good mullet.
I would go out here or there, but I just was always afraid like you're gonna f this up.
I would
This
try
is
to
too
drag
good to
Jerry
be true.
out once in a while. You get him out.
I was a
while.
bad like.
I never
wingman.
saw you out one
I didn't
time.
go out a lot. I was always in relationships.
Later on,
I had my moment of like, all right, I'm just gonna enjoy this a little more. I moved to West Hollywood.
we had a sleepover. Jerry slept over. one
Jerry,
night.
let's call it like it is. Connolly and Adrian were partying a lot. Kevin would walk in, he would show up in the morning with red eyes. He looked like he had been maced. He's like, give me some of those blue drops. He would put these
By the way,
blue
I need those
Visine
blue
drops in
drops.
there.
Do you
Love
guys
those blue drops.
remember our first year at the Golden Globes? And I bring it up for a
Yes,
reason.
when we busted each other's chops in the,
Well,
on the
When he
red
said
carpet.
it. By the way, you really ran with that one.
So, all right, I'm going Golden Globes for a minute because one, we didn't really expect to get nominated for a Golden Globe
Yeah,
that
that was a
first year. It was
shocker,
shocking. And we go, and it was the first and only time, and it just timed out this way. Our first day of shooting season
the
2
next
was the
day.
Monday morning after the Sunday
right.
party. And all I really remember was we went to all the parties, had this great night, and I remember getting back to my apartment, putting my head on the pillow, and then my alarm
we
clock
basically
went
went
off.
right to work.
And we went no sleep, right to work. It was a rough hair and makeup trailer.
And it was like
no
but it was just like a shot. We just had to get in there. We were out by like 10, but we had to go in there, and it was just like just pull it together.
We just gotta
Isn't
make
that
it
the
through this day.
Just fucking rally and get through the next 12 minutes, and you'll be in your car on the way home.
Now, I might have butchered this story. You have a good memory with this. I tried to tell us in the bathroom at the Golden Globe story to you. I might have had details incorrect. I want to make sure I think this is the funniest thing I've
You
ever.
want to tell it, Kev, or you want me to?
Just make sure I said it right. Do you remember it well?
So listen, the Golden Globes. The fun thing about the Golden Globes
best
used
part.
to be that you were at a table. You're not in the auditorium.
You could have some drinks.
But
Step out
let
and you can
me.
drink.
We got to kind of start this off on what happened at the red carpet.
What happened
Because
on
we've
the
been
red
going
carpet?
off on each other the whole time.
Well, we called it.
I
declared war when you said
one of
that
those
on
luxury
CNN, bro.
suites, where they give you free stuff, and
War.
there was a spray tan thing. Like, come on, come in and get a free spray tan. So I was like, all right, let me get a spray tan.
You got a spray tan?
I got a spray tan.
He got a, by the way,
the whole
he got
way
a
on the
free
carpet, he had to
spray
tell
tan.
everyone
He
he
got a-
busted my balls. So
All
bad
you
on
saw
the
was a
red
pair
carpet.
of white eyes.
I was
All you
gonna
saw
say, you
like
probably could
eyes.
tell.
It was bad. I wish
Blending
I
into the
hadn't
carpet.
done it, but
Bad choice.
So wait, was that the
So I
first
was
shot
like,
in
all
the
right,
war?
that was the first shot.
I didn't know I cut him that deep.
So I was
with
like,
that,
all
but
right,
apparently
let's
he
go.
was
Here we
simmering.
go.
So what, we
I
go on like
started busting
CNN?
his chops about, oh my God, he
No, he
showed
said
up
it. He
so
said it on
hungover.
CNN. I was like, Dillon, you just started a war. And he's like, all right, relax. Let's talk about. I'm willing to call a truce if you're willing.
And this is on the red carpet.
the red carpet, like,
he
we
said on
had to
CNN. He said,
eventually
yeah,
call a
Connolly
truce.
came in last week looking like he'd been maced the night before. I was like, Dillon, you're dead. You're a dead man walking. And the next time we're on here, I'm going to carve you to shreds. Like, all right, relax. I'm willing to walk away if you're willing to walk away.
We had to call a truce. Ceasefire.
There
Ceasefire.
was a ceasefire. But
what
the
happened in
Golden
the
Globes
bathroom?
was
But
the
it was
best.
still active at this stage, right? So he
This is
had
why I
just
hit,
busted
Matt.
my
This is why I
chops
hit.
about this spray tan. And we're in the bathroom. I'm at the urinal.
Well, we're at the table, but we
And
left
who else is
separately,
in-
but we ended up in the
Who else
bathroom
is
together
in the
somehow.
bathroom? Let's
So
do
I
you
know
remember?
it was Pierce Brosnan
Pierce
who I said
Brosnan.
what's up to.
Shit, wasn't Cameron
I knew from
crazy?
Malibu. I used to run into him.
It was the craziest lineup
It was
of
who's
dudes.
who
It was
at the
a-
bathroom.
I think
And
Cameron
then
was
some.
in there.
Who?
I think
Brosnan.
James Cameron was in the
could have
bathroom.
crazy
Very
people,
well.
or like some massive
Johnny
Ridley
Depp?
Scott or somebody.
No, Johnny was not there.
All right.
The place was packed,
And it's quiet. It's
Yeah,
quiet.
you
It's the
can hear a
bathroom.
pin drop. It's very tense. Also, it's like a commercial.
You know, I'm at the urinal. And
Don't at the
Connolly
urinal for a
comes
half
walking
hour.
in, and
His prostate is the size.
I'll let
of
you
a-
finish the story. Connolly comes walking in. What do I say?
All right, cover up, gentlemen. We got a peeker in here.
Pierce Brosnan.
I mean,
rolled
everyone,
over.
you can see everyone
and
covering
everyone
up
goes,
too.
the
They all
entire
they all look
place-
at Connolly.
The
They all
entire
start
place
covering
went
up.
ballistic. I was just like, I threw my hands up. I'm like, yeah. It was,
Classic
that was,
peeker.
that was-
Classic peeker.
Peter Gazer.
And
We
then
all-
we
go
got to
ahead.
tell the story about. So we're out on the back patio, and I remember Kevin Bacon was there. Remember Kevin Bacon's there. It's me, Dillon, Kevin Bacon. We're smoking a cigarette, having a drink, shooting the shit. This guy walks up to Kevin and is like, "Hey, how you doing, man? We went to high school together." Dillon's like, "Hope I didn't beat you up too bad." He's like, and he did say, "No, you're always very nice to me.
Yeah.
You're always very nice to me." And Dillon's like, "Oh yeah, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I made a movie." He's like, "Really? What movie?" He's like, "Capote." The guy
Same
was
director as
nominated-
Moneyball as well.
Nominated
Bennett
for
Miller.
Capote. Dillon's like, "I always liked you, right, bro?"
This is true too.
I'm
it's
like
a
sitting there, I'm going, and Kevin Bacon goes, "No, you heard it. I know you're asking if that really happened, and I'm here
Yes,
to
it did.
confirm that he just said that. It was unreal. But
It was
did you?
Bennett. I knew him well. He was great. Yeah,
Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah,
Great guy.
I mean, he had grown a couple feet, so he looked completely different.
couple
Tall guy.
Oscar nominations.
Couple Oscar nods. I still haven't gotten a call.
Dylan, you were,
Foxcatcher.
we were just together shooting something, right? And
So fun.
we're gonna talk reboot stuff only because I had a realization after shooting this moment, and it's been on Instagram now where, you come over to me, you take your glasses off, you deliver your line. I'm like, fuck, this guy still got his fastball, man. He's just throwing heat still. But you said something in between takes. We were talking about like when you were growing up and the Bennett Miller years, we'll call them. And you had mentioned too, like once your brother Matt kind of went off, like, dude, there was a lot of hatred, like hating on Matt, and dudes would show up, looking to like, where's Matt? And then you'd have to like step out and roll with these dudes.
He was such a big teen idol at this stage, and
you had to kind of
girls had his poster, and they all loved him.
You
It
were in the
made
marching
guys
band at
all
this time, right?
all
A
guys
lot of
were
guys
hating.
hated him
Right.
from other
Jealousy.
schools. They would come to our school looking to beat Matt up, which they probably wouldn't be able to do. Matt's a pretty tough
tough
dude.
dude. But then they come, then
And
they're
they'd
like, where's
come
the
up-
next
so me
Dylan?
and my brother Paul had to, end up fighting these
And
idiots
you were in the-
who
you were
came
in the-
So
looking
they
Marching
came
for
after
him.
you too?
He was also
Yeah,
in
they
the
would come
marching
after
band
us
as well,
or-
so he wasn't on the football team. He was in the marching band.
No, I was
Dylan.
not.
Yes, you were.
No,
You
I
were
did a
marching
little. I played
He's
the
a
drums a
drummer.
little bit, but I actually never marched.
You were not in the
Yeah,
marching band.
I
you
was
in
not in
the-
the
you were in
marching
the
But
band.
then you
That's not what
No,
I
I know my paradiddles. I knew.
Your paradiddles?
Yeah, that's a drumming
that?
thing.
he doesn't speak the language. of
He
music.
doesn't understand music. The language of music.
And then how old were you when you left for Platoon? You were still like,
Yeah,
just
I
out of
was-
high school, right?
I was probably 17 when I left.
Damn.
I was 18 when I was there.
All full
Me
of
and
piss
Charlie
and
were the
vinegar.
two youngest guys. there.
Imagine
Me and
Dillon out
Charlie.
there.
You were
Charlie
17,
Sheen.
18. Charlie Sheen was like the same age.
Same
pretty
age,
much, right?
yeah. We're
Did you
pretty
run
much
around with Charlie back in the day?
Oh yeah.
He's a good dude.
Well,
He's
especially in the Philippines, we had a great time.
I bet.
And we
Glad I
we
missed
still
it.
see each other a lot.
They're
and,
still alive.
We're gonna do this another Platoon reunion.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I was
really?
That's awesome.
Texting with Charlie again.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
That's
didn't-
awesome, man.
that's
What a lineup.
Unfortunately, we lost one of our
lineup.
platoon
Yeah.
brothers, Tony Todd. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys.
sorry to hear that. I know
Great
that was your
actor,
buddy, yeah.
really great guy, and it was kind of heartbreaking because I just saw him recently. But yeah, he was going to be coming to this great reunion too. We're really tight. This platoon group. It's
amazing.
How often do you guys get
We
together?
shot that in '86.
Would you rather hang out with them or me and Jerry?
Probably every them. I love you guys too, man. But yeah,
That's
so it'll
fine.
be
There's
great.
other
About
casts.
every 8 years, maybe we get together. It
Yeah.
seems.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Give or take.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think about, I just don't know at such a young age to go off to the Philippines and do a movie like that. That's
Well, my parents didn't want me to go because there was a revolution
Right.
in the Philippines. They just ousted Marcos. There were tanks in the streets, and they're like, "We don't want you to go." But no, you know what? I had just turned 18. I was like, "I'm 18 now. I'll do whatever I want.
whatever I
you
want."
know? I'm going. So I said, but a lot of guys actually dropped out and regret it to this day.
Right.
Guys
Well,
who
yes,
didn't,
they regret it. And
imagine doing that.
Here's
Say,
the other
no,
thing
I'm not
too.
going to do that.
Here's the other thing too. Platoon, for all intents and purposes, was an independent film.
right.
This
Yeah, it
was
was
no
a-
big studio
It
film.
was
Like
not
those
a big
guys
budget.
were
I
out
mean,
there.
I think the total budget was like $5 million,
6 million,
6
bucks or
million,
something
somewhere
like that.
around there.
Yeah. So now
I mean,
that would be
$6 million went a longer way back then. And in the Philippines, you can get a lot for your money. But you're sick. You're sick.
What's your guys' favorite scene, all time Entourage, or like it can be like an improv or anything. Just
Oh man, there's so many good ones.
there's so many good ones.
One of my favorites is the walk and talk, where we leave the restaurant. They basically followed us from the restaurant out the door across the
Jess
street.
Mancini
It was
scene.
the Jess Mancini
God,
line.
yeah.
But it's the whole thing. We had to keep finding the camera. I love the walk and talks. It's one of my favorite shots of
One of my favorites was the hardest.
line was great,
The,
too,
the desert thing.
Oh,
which
Joshua Tree.
It's great
where
to
we-
watch, but in hindsight, man, it was hot. It was look, I'm Irish. We're not built for that heat. It was hot out there, bro.
yeah.
When
Nowhere to go.
We shot the episode in Joshua Tree where we take mushrooms and we're looking for these answers, and we really went out to the desert. And like Connolly said, it looks amazing, and you're there, but it was so hot. Even like the
You
dog
can't
that
find
played
shade.
Arnold,
There's
the
no
dog
shade.
that played Arnold stormed off set.
They had to bring in his
Like the
body
dog just
double.
started running off, and the dog just
Poor
kept running and
Rottweiler.
never came back.
Poor
bring his body
Rottweiler.
double.
Rottweiler's black and
Yo, he's
you know,
like,
he's got
he's like,
hair.
I'm done
He's
for
like,
the
I'm
day.
out.
I am
Yeah.
done for the day. Thank you very much.
I look back at the earlier episodes because like we just didn't know.
Right.
We knew what we were doing, but I look back at, we were even talking like the boxing stuff. I love when we shot at Laker games.
yeah.
We told the Kobe story. Do you remember
Yeah,
the
that
Kobe
was a good
story?
one.
Did I ever tell
That
it
was
to
a
you?
good one.
Okay.
Oh, that was amazing.
So I don't know if it was the first time we're shooting at Staples Center courtside. Kobe was hurt. I mentioned we
He
went.
was,
We
like,
shot
out for
twice.
the
He was always
year.
hurt. He was
out
out.
for the year.
His Achilles, right?
He
had
had
the
a
boot
leg
on.
injury.
Yeah.
Boot on.
So we get to Staples Center at like 4 p.m. They barely want us there at this point. They're giving us very minimal cameras or whatever, but we have 4 amazing courtside seats. So we're there rehearsing at 4 p.m.
Just to say, like, where the camera's
Right.
going to be here.
It's here,
and
here.
Just giving us a rundown. on what's
Kobe
gonna be.
comes out from the back and like just sweats, and he's gonna get some shots off. He's on one leg, just him and us. He's shooting. Now, of course, we all stop what we're doing. We're like Kobe Bryant, and I'm sure he kind of comes over. He's like, "What do you guys do?" Who are like season 2? No one. We didn't really
Yeah, yeah.
pop yet,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Oh, Entourage is like." Okay, and it's ignored us. Just went
This
back
is
to
how
shooting.
what a sick athlete he is. He's still practicing.
Yeah, on
you
like
he's
one
got
leg.
One
So-
leg, and he's still
He was-
practicing. his
He
shot.
comes out to half court. We're wrapping up. He's like, "Hey, with $100 a shot from half court, with my left hand,
1 foot.
with
one
one
foot.
Opposite hand.
left-handed,
off my right,
half-court
off my
shot.
back, off my good leg, left-handed." We're like, done. Either way, it's gonna be great. First
all bet him,
shot,
all 4
we
of
took
us.
it all. First shot, it misses, but not by much. He's like, another one.
You're like,
Spins right up.
Another
Every
one.
Every one of them scared the basket.
misses, but it's like he's all over it. He's dialed in.
Yeah.
Third, fourth, fifth shot, whatever.
makes it.
Never makes it. And not only does he not make it, just leaves. Doesn't say like that was fun. Doesn't give us
Walks
any
off.
money.
I was like, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we're like,
Walked off and
either
didn't
way,
pay us,
We're
and he
like, oh,
stuck
he
us
was-
with the
yeah.
bill.
Stuff us with the money, but it's still a great story. Now we're filming, okay? Kobe's not playing. So at some point in a timeout, an athletic trainer comes up to the 5 of us and peels off $100 bills.
This
This
guy
from
getting paid us
this
all
in the
off,
middle of the
yeah.
game. This is from Kobe and breaks us off $100
Oh, I
bills.
had that
Yeah.
tucked in. And
You had the $100 bill still?
I had it tucked into.
Is it gone?
Rainy day, something emergency fund. Like,
Did
I was
he
like,
ever
this is
make?
terrible.
He never made the
So
show.
he
did
was supposed to. It's ironic. Kobe was supposed to have a cameo, which he didn't do because I think he was in season. And then we ended up getting someone who it's become one of the most iconic memes from the show. Kobe was supposed to do the 50 Cent cameo. My character, I'm having like this crisis of, I'm not doing anything with my life. Vince buys me a Ferrari. Jamie Lynn buys me a Porsche. I'm driving around the Ferrari in Beverly Hills. 50 Cent rolls up to me and is like, "You
By the
look
way,
good
that's
in
a
your
big
dad."
meme.
And it's a famous meme because he smiles and just drives off. It's on the internet every day. But that was initially written for Kobe. But I think he was in season.
know that.
And he was like, in season. I have the script still where it says Kobe Bryant pulls up the turtle.
Wow, that's cool.
But Kobe in season, you're just not getting to him like that.
That was never gonna happen.
And it worked out because the 50 meme is one of my favorite things.
I also remember, we have the director of this episode. This was Julian. I remember this, and he's English, right? So, and he's a fanatical soccer football fan, fanatical,
but doesn't know anything about.
But he's like, hey, mates, like what? Like we're just not looking at him.
Oh,
Right?
with Kobe, you're talking about.
He's like telling us all this stuff, and we're just all looking through him, and I'm like, buddy, this is like, that I'm trying to come up
Michael
with somebody.
Jordan.
Like, this is
anyone,
like,
what name?
This is like Beckham, whoever it was
Yeah,
at the time. I was like trying to come up with an analogy player.
out of the way.
I was like, dude, this is a big one.
Yeah, he was trying to get us refocused. Like, no.
didn't really
We're not
understand who
shooting
it
till
was.
Kobe's done with whatever he's doing.
Did you guys know it would be a hit at any point? Like, I know you early on.
I did.
Dillon.
These guys
Dillon was the
did
only
not.
one.
You knew at a moment, you're like, like this is going to be
Yeah,
big.
I said everyone's worried. You shoot the pilot and then you hope it gets picked up.
Right,
If it gets, then it did get picked up. I knew it was going to get picked up because I thought the pilot was great. I told these guys, relax, it's getting picked up. Then you hope that it's going to get picked up for another season.
Multiple seasons, yeah.
Again,
they hang
like,
every
getting,
year. It's
I'm
like,
telling
okay,
you,
it
don't
looks
worry
good,
about
it
it.
feels
This is
You're on a
getting
1-year
picked up.
contract
I was
every
going to
year.
say, you're every season, it's just like.
We have
Yes,
deals,
and I
but
knew it was going to keep going because it was just a brilliant show, a great idea. The
There came a
chemistry
point
was there.
where we
I
knew
felt
we were going to
good.
run the course.
But it is
right?
like think of it like an
season 3 or
athlete,
whatever.
like a football
Season on a 1-year
contract.
deal,
None of it's we have 5-year deals. None of it's guaranteed.
Right.
At any point, they could say, "No, we're gonna go a different direction," and it's over.
Right.
They don't pay us out for the 5 years or whatever our deal
And
is.
you guys are still working, like you're still doing movies, other stuff.
in between, but I mean, it does take a lot of time to make the show, and then you break and you take a little downtime, and getting a movie, whatever. Like sometimes you get offers, sometimes you got to chase it for a while.
Right, but
so
there's a window.
there's a
right?
window.
If
You have a
rolls-
very
if it
specific
lands in the
window when you can go
right.
do other stuff, and you can't just go off and be like, I'm gonna go do this movie for 6 months. It's like, well, because you're gonna start shooting Entourage again. But
You kind of want to take the time off too.
Right,
It's
right, 'cause you
It's
just
a bit of
finished.
a grind, when you
those
do
days are
TV
I mean,
show.
I've dabbled, but it's like 14-hour days.
oh, you
6
definitely
we were-
dabbled. And
The
we're gonna
later
get
we
to-
got on,
But I'm
the-
just like,
the
dude,
days
it's
would get shorter.
and there's
but in
so
the
much
beginning, it was
there's so much
Beginning.
downtime too, though. It's like you just like,
You know what,
that's
when you-
like where you go crazy. That's where you have
I
to
know.
keep.
That's-
That's the
yeah.
hard part.
We're gonna do something in a few minutes. We do a throwback 3 on the show, where it's just like kind of a list. It's not no pressure. We're gonna
like
do
lists.
and again, throw out what you got. We're gonna do our throwback 3 of our favorite athlete cameos, specific athletes. Because I think it's. And by the way, Matt, I'm thinking about it now. And it's probably because you were a college kid. You
probably
would have been a perfect cameo, right? But you
Yeah,
couldn't do it
I
because
was
you
gonna
can't.
say I wasn't allowed
You're
to
not
do
allowed
it.
to do it because there was no NIL.
my
Back then.
did I tell you the Judging Amy thing?
You were on Judging
My
Amy.
first
Good show.
ever
Good show.
acting extra was on Judging Amy.
Oh, you're
Good
just
for
an
you.
extra.
Wow.
No,
I was
mine,
an
you're
extra
just in
probably
because
couldn't
she
get
was
paid either,
the
right?
director was a USC alum or whatever. I think it was right after I graduated, so I was allowed to do it.
Right.
I think I might have got paid $100 or whatever, but I was like, "This is," and I had to pantomime and shit. I was like, "What the heck is pantomime?"
you were a mime?
Yeah,
I felt so
you're in the
uncomfortable. I
background,
was like
you gotta
talking
be-
like this, like I
yeah,
was
if you're
talking.
in the background,
You're in the
the
Oh, I
background.
got you. I
That-
got you.
I think that's
Yeah,
what they call it. Is that
Pantomime. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Really like a fish out of water. I was like, what?
in thinking, once seeing that Dillon still has his Johnny Drama fastball and cracking me up on set, I'm like, all right, I know everyone always talks about Reboot. It's been 20 years. And then I tried to think of just some fun, all right, if we ever were going to do a reboot, what on earth are these characters doing today, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to pitch you a couple of things. By the way, I thought about this for 5 minutes. And Doug, if you're watching, I'm not trying to write any. I know you're going to probably say, leave it to the writers. You're right.
Leave it to the writers.
Agreed. But we're just going to have some fun. Dillon, I'm going to start with you. When last we left Johnny Drama, he wins a Golden Globe Award, right?
Yes.
And we love Johnny Drama, but we also love him when he's fighting, right? When he's like,
Yeah,
he's-
I like a struggling
Underdog
drama.
Johnny
I don't want
Drama.
to see him on top of the world. I think somehow he's struggling to get a job again. He's
let me pitch you this.
down and out a little bit.
Do you think maybe Johnny Drama is on a show again? Like maybe he's on the Netflix, whatever. He's on a show.
A lot of network, a lot of
and
streamers.
they are gonna, for the first time, say, you know what? We actually think we could do his part with AI.
Jeez.
We're gonna replace him.
Johnny
We're gonna
Drama facing
replace
an
him.
AI
We're gonna
crisis.
replace him.
I
You're
love
in,
it.
You're in an
I love
AI
it.
crisis.
AI crisis.
Johnny
I
Drama's
love it.
fighting the first AI acting crisis. I think it'll be great for your
by the way,
character.
I'd have to go to my SAG rep and go, what the hell's going on here? Why am I?
Dylan loves his SAG
we could
rep.
write this. We could write that scene.
That's
in
a great
2
idea.
seconds.
Decent
That's a
insurance.
great idea.
You guys
Great
SAG
idea.
Insurance, not bad.
I feel like for me, for Turtle, when last we left,
You were
Turtle,
loaded.
100 million or more.
Yes,
We haven't put an actual number
wrong.
on it,
I
but he was
got
worth
some.
say he was worth 100 million. My pitch would be, because I also love Turtle when he's down, he for sure got
Bitcoin.
finagled in a crypto scheme.
Yeah, you're a Bitcoin
Some
guy, for
NFT, no,
That's
not
cool.
Bitcoin, because Bitcoin would have worked out.
You're part of the
Yeah.
NFT crash.
He bought
Turtle
an
is
NFT.
part of
Bored
NFT.
Ape. You bought a Bored Ape.
Bored Ape. He bought a Bored Ape for 18 million, and now he's just flat.
That's worth
broke.
I love it. I
$400
love
bucks.
Lost it all. Back living with Vince for sure.
We're all desperados again.
Exactly.
He's gone through a divorce
So
with Sloan.
He's
She's
a-
kicked him out of the house.
The only thing I figured for E is I feel like you and Sloan, you have a baby in the movie. So I think you have 5 more kids.
A lot of kids.
Irish twins, a whole bunch. You have 5 kids.
Irish
Running
triplets, maybe.
unscripted at Bravo.
So like, did he create Love is
Vanderpump
Blind
Rules,
or something?
Created
Vanderpump?
Love is Blind.
You're a reality guy
Just
now.
like, no, unscripted.
Unscripted.
Big difference, bro. Big difference. Running the unscripted department. That's
So-
my,
What's it? What's
So
Adrian?
what about Vince? What's
This
he
to
do?
me is the hardest one, right? Because
He's still got to do well.
the Vince character,
Or we got nowhere to go.
he's a Netflix darling.
it was always the engine of like, all right, here's the business story that we're gonna then do. Me and Dylan will go do side quests. I used to call them. Get it?
Yeah, yeah. B story.
I don't know because like, and I'm open to pitches. Movies, not many people are going to the movies anymore. Do they bring him back for Aquaman 3?
He is a
go. There we
Netflix
go.
darling.
He's a Netflix darling. He's on Netflix.
You can find him in the trending in the top 10 once every
Maybe
couple
he's
movies,
moved back to
floating around the
Mexico.
8 or 9 spot.
Or
the
maybe he's
7 or
back
9
in
hole.
He's
Mexico.
moved back
just-
to Mexico.
No, he's a
You think he's on
Netflix
Netflix?
darling, bro. Yeah.
Do they try to
He's a
lure him
streamer.
from
They offer
Netflix?
Johnny Drama apart, but he's got to have his brother in there. So we got to go to Mexico to get Vince back.
Vince is on a multi-picture.
Is there
Netflix
a world
deal.
where this like you guys could like a reboot or like you could redo this whole thing? Is that I mean,
Yeah.
so much time has passed, but it could.
So
that's like-
reboots to me
Is
are
there ever
always
like,
like
you guys get together and like, dude, let's try to pitch something to.
I
Netflix?
really
we would
saw
all
it.
doesn't
do
work
it.
that way.
We would all do it.
It's not that easy, right?
As a matter of fact, everyone will do it. It's just the it's the money.
It's not
people
as
behind
easy.
It. It's writers and
It's an important part of it, you
HBO
know what I mean?
and
Yeah, there's
It's
a
an
lot.
existing property and it's existing IP. You don't just get to decide, hey,
If
let's
it was
run
our-
it back.
There's a lot of
If it
people
was
that
our
want
choice,
to
we
have to
would do it.
decide to do it
sure
as
the
well.
cast of
behind the
Lost
scenes.
would like, hey, let's keep it going again. Let's do another season. Whatever. I mean, like,
But I
any
never
show would
say
wanna do that.
anytime I always say like I actually didn't think the movie was gonna happen. Anytime I ever say never, it actually
Movie,
then
you have
happens.
more control, right? Or no?
Yes and no, and I always thought that the movie always felt like a big episode, right? For like the fans. So I think going back and doing it as a series again would be the move. Not
yes,
like another.
definitely.
I mean, it would be a great,
Reboot.
a great call to get, but
Do
I
you
just
think
don't
we
see it. if I'm
we
being
need to
totally
have like because you say reboot, obviously you gotta like Cobra Kai
By
did
the way,
a
they
good
can
job.
reboot it without us as well.
Right. Cobra Kai did a good job of like, it's Daniel
Sorry,
LaRusso's kids. But Daniel LaRusso's still on, they're still in it. They're just now the, you know.
Ryan Murphy.
You
So
guys,
do we
My
have
kid
like
Ryan
one of
Murphy's
E's
getting into
9
business.
kids is
that's
is
a good pitch.
You know, maybe we have to bring or a Chase cousin you didn't know you had is now like, I want to be an actor too, Uncle Johnny. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. You gotta crack that and
Well, that's the other thing too. It would be, and one thing I think everybody is on the same page is that you wouldn't just, you want it to be good, right?
Yeah.
It would have to be, because
just do it to
your
do it,
initial
yeah.
thought would be like an eye roller. So you'd have to like blow that out of the water and have it be awesome, which would require, something extreme, I guess.
yeah.
But you guys still got it. You still got it.
Listen,
No doubt, brother. No doubt.
I thought but even me when we were shooting that spot for Cash App, I'm like, I haven't done this with this character in a minute. Like I've changed so much. I didn't have kids.
great,
when I,
didn't it, Jay?
I didn't have kids
I was
back
gonna say,
then.
How'd it feel, Jay?
I would not that I was nervous. We do the rehearsal. Once we figured out, all right, Dylan's gonna come here. You're gonna go. This is what we're after the first take, and especially with him, like we just because we did so many side quest storylines together.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we could.
I never really thought about that actual part of it
What?
Like the character part. Like,
Yeah.
all right, E.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know, man.
It's not
Really?
just show up and do.
No,
it.
of course you could do it, but I mean, yeah, it would be weird.
You
for
got to
sure.
do a lot.
To
I
go
gotta
back
get
into
I got to call Ari stuff going again.
Oh, that's
Easy.
what I was gonna say.
it's
One
like
of the
riding
things
a bike
I
for you
meant
guys.
to.
Damn, it's
I
like
meant to
putting on an
mention.
old shoe.
Do you remember?
Still fits.
Do you remember when every year we'd be shooting. We were a summer show every year.
Yeah.
So we had to be ready to go in the summer, but we'd be shooting in like March or April. Do you remember when they would bring in the new phones?
Oh,
And they'd have like, all of a sudden it's like a skinny version of the like
First
anytime there was a new
BlackBerry.
phone,
The next
The
Delta.
razor.
they
There-
would come and the guy would basically
Everyone
like
wanted
stand
that
there.
razor.
And then
Yeah.
after the
razor was old.
take, he'd be like, all right, hand it over. I'm
We
like,
have to
come on,
give
man, just
back
let me
the
look at
phone.
it. Yeah, they would bring on.
Of course, Piven destroyed all his props.
He used to
He
throw
was
them.
always, it was unscripted, and he would like smash his phone against
We
the
would
wall.
throw
I'm
him
like,
off.
oh
We
man,
would throw him off the cliff.
That was the only one we had.
He probably went through a lot.
Remember when Piven pulled the hamstring in the desert?
Oh,
Came up lame,
See-
came flying around the corner. Ah!
you get upset with me
the
that I
hand.
pulled my quad playing football. We're shooting in the dead. We're out in the
Mid-take,
middle of nowhere.
freezing cold at night,
And-
112 during the day.
And Piven Ari has to come running around.
And
the
he's
corner.
on mushrooms. He's
And-
with the dog, right?
And
He's
you
with
see
Arnold.
it. He just reached for the hamstring right away.
Came around that corner, he pulled up lame. I was like,
And he's just going, what am I gonna do now?
But he stayed in character.
He tried.
oh no,
Yeah,
not that
no,
take.
no.
He was
that
hurt.
Cut.
Yeah.
Dude, a hammy hurts, man. I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
by
he
the
was
way,
in pain.
he pulled a
I guess
hammy.
you could say one thing about the Entourage guys: we are injury prone.
Yeah.
played through.
we play.
Yeah.
We're tough. We
Did
play
you,
through
what,
it.
did you ever get hurt?
No, I got sick a lot. that was my
Jerry
thing.
was
I
always
was
sick.
always
we battled a lot
Yeah,
of
you're-
illnesses.
You were sick.
You had a
He was.
flu
Jerry
when we were
gets
in
that.
that pool scene,
You look at Jerry.
and you
he
were
gets the
really
flu.
in bad
when
shape.
we shot the pilot
man.
episode, we have to get in this indoor-outdoor pool in the mansion, which they didn't think to heat days before, and it was November in LA, so it's not freezing, but we're shooting at midnight. The pool's freezing. I have either a stomach virus or the flu. I'm green. I'm throwing up in between.
and you
takes.
had to make out with
And I have
this
to get in
girl,
the
this
pool.
poor girl that you had to
This
make
poor
out
girl,
with.
I'm literally just going, I'm so sorry.
As he
I'm
kissed her.
so sorry.
She's
I'm
just
shivering
seeing
like
the
this. In between takes, they're wrapping me with towels. They're giving me like IVs. I just keep going
He was
to the
wrapped
girl,
in a
like,
heated blanket
I'm
between
so.
takes.
I think her name was Courtney. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I hope you don't get sick. And I was sick a lot, but
I mean, listen,
We
the other,
battled
the, other,
through.
the other thing too is like, the 8 seasons is over 10 years. I mean, at a certain point we saw like a lot of each other with regard, at a certain point everybody was sick, and at a certain point everybody was hurt. At a certain point everybody was going through a breakup. At a certain point everybody
true.
was going through like,
I definitely
got
went
to
through a
watch these
few
guys
on
live
the show.
lifetimes.
I
Lifetimes.
went through a few on the show. Let me
Remember,
tell you,
First thing I'm like, just come on and sleep over, Jerry. Let's go out.
I was man down for a bit. Connolly definitely helped rebuild my confidence. And all I want to say is, if you're going with this is the guy you want out there. This is the guy you go to if you get a little heartbreak. He
So you're dealing with real heartbreak. You're coming in to
kind
set
of did
the
like,
next day, like all
come up to
down.
the house, hang with me for a little bit. We're
Yeah.
not gonna do nothing the first night. Second night,
We're gonna watch a movie.
we'll watch a movie, order a
Take it
pizza.
slow.
Second night, we'll go
out for a couple
get
drinks,
dinner.
nothing crazy.
We'll have a
You don't
drink,
want to
but,
pull a hammy.
but by the third night, we're going out.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna do what I
Camp.
say.
Remember we were
You're
pitching that reality show. We were in
Man
the-
camp.
The man camp.
Yeah, you gotta get.
And it
love
worked.
that. What a great wingman.
That's
it worked.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And yeah, the next dude that the girl date, Connolly, will put spells on him if you want. He'll do all that. So
I mean, yeah, you wonder what, yeah. We
Yeah,
can't
well,
tell a
no,
bunch
that's
of
just
things.
a- just
I'll tell you
off-air.
a couple of good off-air stories about that.
all right, we're
Not
gonna
sure
do.
I want this guy being a world champion, if I'm being honest. Jerry.
Oh,
Jerry, yeah. So girl, dude started dating one of Jerry's exes. He was like, I don't need this guy winning the ring right now.
is that bad that I
That's
didn't want the
amazing.
next person after me to win a ring? Is that terrible? I got no rings.
Right. You got
Yeah,
no rings. Not right now. It's way too soon for a ring. It was right after, too. Right?
Yes. All right, so we're gonna do our throwback 3. We're gonna talk our favorite athlete cameos because for whatever reason, you professional athletes loved Entourage.
So good.
And we had a lot over the years. And again, there's no wrong answers. Just throw out one. So throwback 3, we're gonna do our favorite Entourage athlete cameos. Okay, Dillon, you want to lead us off? You got
Yeah.
All right, let's
I
hear
got
it.
3.
Let's hear it.
Of course, I got to say Tom Brady because Tom was awesome.
Really going
And
out on a limb there.
No, he
Yeah,
was
I mean,
great.
I mean, he's number one.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone loved him. He signed every like, he would
Yeah.
sign whatever you want. Took a picture.
He was
with
great with
everyone
the
in the crew. The crew loved him.
Yeah.
And of course, I break his club and the scene and all that. But during our lunch break, I had already hit like 200 golf balls on the
true.
range for doing the shot, but he was like, hey, Dillon, you want to go hit some golf balls? I'm like, yeah. I
Can't say no to that.
Say no to Tom
By the way,
Brady.
didn't get
we
the
went,
call. Didn't get
played
that
about
call.
12 holes, and he had a great swing.
He was hitting it good.
He was hitting the ball really well. Yeah.
He was coming off the torn knee too, so no one had seen him.
Yeah.
He hadn't played football in a year.
Great dude. Great
he is.
dude. So I'm going to say number 1 there. Number 2, I'm going to go with Phil Mickelson, who I actually got that cameo. I ran into him in a golf course at San Diego.
I was with
called
him.
The Bridges. I was
with
Gary,
Dillon.
right?
I watched
That was
this
his
happen.
Yeah,
course.
that's
That's
right.
his
You were
course.
there.
I watched this happen in front of my eyes.
So I was going out, for some reason, I was going out towards my car, and I saw Phil carrying his own bag, and he saw me kind of spot him, and he put his head down low, like, I
didn't
don't
know
want to
who
be
you were?
recognized.
He didn't know who you
Not
were?
right away. So he was just like, oh, I don't want to be recognized by this guy. This guy noticed
He's
me.
like, this guy's a
But
real
then I was
creep.
like, I can't let him
Keep my
slide.
head
I was
down.
like, no, hey, Phil, I just got to say what's up. Then he recognized, he goes, oh my God, Johnny Drama. So he was a
Then you're
fan
like,
of
I
the
got
show. I was like, yeah. I go, you know my dad. My dad painted you. My dad's a port.
Oh, it's a good
he
story,
passed,
yeah.
My dad, but my dad had painted him. He goes, oh, I love Paul. He was
Like
the best.
high-end-
And he told me a
high-end
story
artist.
about my dad that I had never heard before. How he painted Phil with a right-handed club.
As a righty.
They just grabbed a club and they took a picture together, and my dad painted that.
Oh, he painted
And then
an
when
actual
my
picture.
dad recognized, my dad saw the picture, he goes, "Oh my God, Phil, I painted you with the right-handed club. I'll fix it. I'll just paint a left-handed club." He goes, "No, Paul, I like it just like that.
Good
Don't
conversation
change
piece,
it."
he said.
So
Good
he was
conversation
great.
piece.
And then me and Jerry ended up having lunch with him. I asked him if
Didn't get
he
the
would
call.
want to do the show. No, you didn't get the call. You were a hack. We said, spend some time at the driving range, and we'll see if we can fit you in next time. But so he said, yeah, I would love to do a cameo. We called Doug Ellen right there on the spot. Said, hey, Doug, say hi to Phil Mickelson.
That's it.
And then
That's
Doug figured
awesome.
out a way to get him on the show, which was a
There's a
brilliant way.
tiny piece that we're leaving out.
What is
we had a line on the show the year before where we kind of throw him under the bus.
Yes.
Ari has a line where he goes, "The guy's melting down like Phil Mickelson at Wingfoot."
Melting down like Mickelson.
And-
By the way,
but he
that
loved
was
it.
the next episode. So
Right,
that
it hadn't aired yet. Oh, it hadn't aired yet.
So
we
he
just
gets
met
the
him. He
offer,
just said,
and
yes,
then
I'll
that
do the
pops
show.
And then we crushed it.
That aired that week.
Yeah.
And
But he still did it. And
Well,
he
he
loved
said,
it.
he said, you know, I'm
He's
just
got such
laying in
great
bed
sense
with
of
my
humor.
wife watching my
didn't
favorite
care.
show on a Sunday, and
And
all
you
of a
guys are
sudden
just
just
taking
got hit
shots
with
at
a
me.
right hand.
yeah, he's like, I'm about to do the
Crushed me.
show. These guys are great. And, but
That's a good one, Dillon.
Thank God he's got a great sense of humor.
And he was
Took it on
awesome in the
chin.
show. He was
Yeah,
awesome on the
great.
show.
And then I would say number 3, I'm going to go with Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
I never came in on my days off for cameos.
Right.
But I was on my way out, and went into the makeup trailer to take my makeup off, and I run into Drew Brees.
Couldn't be a nicer guy.
He's the
coolest,
best. What did he
nicest
do?
guy.
I don't remember him on.
He did something with one of you guys, right?
So my character, when I was trying to raise money for tequila, I'm calling all these athletes. I don't know how Turtle always knew all these athletes, but I call Drew, and we
okay.
did his side of the call, and but we did it all. He was like in the other room when we did it,
Right.
And
And he was just really cool.
He was a cool
Met him
dude.
in the trailer. He had
like the
just won the
nicest
Super
guy.
Bowl. New Orleans just got hit by that horrible hurricane.
right.
So it was just like, what a great guy.
He
and
is.
so he was number 3 for me.
That's Matt's
good.
most accurate quarterback. And we do like this thing, build your perfect quarterback, and
dude,
it's like
his
arm
accuracy
strength,
is- his accuracy
accuracy.
is sick.
He's great, man.
Whose
Conley?
arm strength would you go with?
What'd you
I'm
do?
just
You
curious.
did
I
Current?
yeah. Well, yeah.
Current, I go Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, current. Yeah.
I think former, we did a lot of Favre, Elway.
I think I did Elway was
Yeah.
mine for former.
How about scramble abilities? Did you
I went
do
Michael
that too?
Vick, like athleticism.
Ooh,
A
Mike
lot of
Vick,
people go
yeah.
Lamar.
Who's yours?
Maybe Josh Allen, man. I just like the way he hits hard. He'll dive over you. He just
Yeah. All right, Connolly,
All
your
right, well,
throwback
I
three,
have
athlete.
a different, I'm going with a different, just because, you know,
Yeah,
you're a little
mix it up.
traditional, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go try to mix up a little bit. The first one was the Michael Phelps one because
That was cool.
we were shooting in New York. It was the last day of the season.
Yes.
It was like it was
We
the
were
last day
wrapping
of the
up,
season,
last shot.
and we're like shooting live and like in the you know the crosswalk on
In the middle of
7th
Manhattan,
Avenue,
yeah.
in the middle of Manhattan, and somebody spots him walking.
He's going to the NBC building. He was doing interviews because he just got back from the
He was
Olympics.
going there. He just got, I mean, it was like a days after he
So,
won all those medals.
It wasn't. Nobody called him. They ran into him.
That's
and
awesome.
said, "Hey, will you do a cameo?" Right
Somebody
now.
grabbed him,
Yeah.
and it's like they set him up on the one side of the street, and I was set up on the other. And also, you know, like a big dude, right? So it's like,
He's
and I got to bump into
It was
him.
like Staying Alive when Travolta and Stallone kind of bump into each other.
I had to
take,
bump
you
into
know?
him, and I figured I'm like, he probably hasn't done this. I gotta lead this one to him. So it was like a little challenging, and it was, honestly, like people were looking at him.
Yeah,
in
he's the
street,
biggest-
and it was like, it was a different kind of
That's a good
wow
one.
factor right
it was
after that.
Pretty
a good
cool
one.
Cameo,
Yeah,
no doubt.
and then I thought an underrated acting performance was Steve Nash.
That's
I
right.
thought he was
quick one.
Yeah, Nash did a good job.
Did not seem like it was his first rodeo.
Acting.
I thought he was pretty good.
You
I
liked
was
his
like, oh, wow.
performance.
I enjoyed his performance because I think they pretty much just dropped it on him.
Yeah.
I don't think that was like a big setup thing. It was like he was there. I mean, they pulled him out of the third row. They pulled him out of the bleachers and said, get in the game. Put a mic on him and said, get in the game. And we kind of ran through this scene. So I was impressed with him.
That's a good one.
And then, I liked, the Tyson thing was always.
Oh,
was
that's right.
always-
Tyson was on. How do I
Oh,
forget?
that was cool. Yeah.
It was always fun.
How
So-
do I forget about Tyson? Yes.
I mean, there were so many. There were so many of those, and of course, Gronk, was amazing.
Ooh, the Gronk. We worked at late night.
Gronk
This was
in
during
the
the
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
We worked until like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was like they called second meal or third meal or whatever, and it was just really soup. It was like a chunky soup. He was
I think he just like
feeding
hung out.
people.
Yeah.
He was, feeding your bowl. You come up with your bowl, and Gronk.
He was like a little
he was just
kid,
a
man. He was
great
just having
guy.
a great time.
Awesome, dude.
The
What
day,
a-
I,
what
the
a
day I
great
broke my leg later in the day. Remember, Jerry? I had to do the scene where you and Rhonda walk in on me and
Connolly
and
has
the girl.
so Connolly breaks his leg and then has a love scene later, right?
Like,
and me and
like
Ronda
my pants
Rousey
are down
walk
around
in
my
on him.
ankles. I'm like it hurt to have my pants around.
What did
my
Gronk
ankles.
say? Didn't Gronk?
Well, I was like joking with him. I was like, man, I got the scene after lunch, man. I got.
A
I'm
sex
like, what's
scene.
that? I go, what's that shot called? And he's like, you don't want a shot if you can have sex, bro. I said, Gronk, hopefully I'm not the one breaking this to you, but we don't really do that,
That's actually he's called filming.
yeah, exactly. Oh no, we're not really having sex. Mike.
he
I
was
just have
worried
to-
about your performance
really a porn
in the
movie.
bedroom if you take the shot.
That's typical Gronk, dude.
Oh, it was so funny. But even Rhonda was a great one. too.
So Rhonda makes the list for me. Yeah,
Right, because
I love-
also Rhonda was around.
You had your 3. Let
Rhonda-
Jerry
No,
have
no.
the Rhonda one.
I go with Rhonda, and what was crazy too is then I got to meet her before we shot, and then we filmed. But then she goes on to fight, and I never really got to know a fighter personally on that level. And I can't even imagine what it's like for fighters' families, because I'm like watching her fight on pay-per-view at home, and I'm nervous, and I only know her for like a year.
Right.
So Rhonda for me, for sure. I think a good sneaky
A long
one.
cameo.
Yes.
Because we really got to spend
It's
time
barely a
with Rhonda.
cameo. She had like a part.
She was right on a roll, yeah.
But a sneaky one that I didn't even really work with him that much, but I've now become friendly with him. But Kevin Love, no one even knows he was in.
Oh, he's great.
When Vince gets beat up by Eminem, words I never thought I'd say. Johnny Drama, we know who has that one shot. Johnny Drama could put you on your ass in one shot, but Kevin Love grabs him in a bear hug. And weren't you really like, yo, that's one of the strongest
Dude, I had
dudes
to tell
ever.
him. Yeah, I mean, because he got me.
And this is like not
My,
skinny
my
Kevin
arms
Love.
are up. He got my rib cage. Such a big, and he started squeezing as hard as he could.
Pretty little ribs.
And I was like,
cracking.
I was afraid he was going to collapse
Crush
my
you
ribs.
like a cup.
Like
a paper
I mean, he's a
cup.
big, strong
he's a
guy,
big
and
dude.
I had to say, hey, dude, go a little easier.
Chill, man.
I'm afraid you can break my, totally collapse my rib
could
cage. You go,
very well
I'm sorry, dude. I
broken
get
those
carried
brittle
away.
ribs.
And he's
like,
really, really cool guy, man.
He
And
was
I'm-
also in the scene where I confront Scott Kahn about
Yes,
giving
he has
Vince
so many
cocaine.
weird, like K-Love is just in there.
There were a couple
Good
times.
dude.
And the last one, not to be more like obvious, but you gotta tip the cap to LeBron.
Oh, no doubt.
That was when I came to set for a cameo. I never really did it much either. I came from Mickelson and I came for LeBron. And I remember too, it was right after on PTI. Remember, pardon the interruption. Something came, they were talking about LeBron and Maverick and his crew, and they did something in the news, and Kornheiser goes, Wilbon, it is exactly what Vince and E would do. LeBron and Mav. And then he comes on the show the next week, and that was a bananas day. It was LeBron, Matt Damon.
I also remember like LeBron, because people say that like, oh, you want to come and set? I'm like, let me tell you something. You're gonna last about 6 minutes,
Right.
Okay, because you're gonna be bored senseless. It's gonna move too slow, and you're gonna want to leave. I would have friends that say, well, don't be extras. I'm like, yo, you don't want to be an extra
'Cause you're stuck in
once
that
they
shot,
fire
man.
that
Cannot
first
leave.
shot on
Yeah.
you, you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So
That's a throwback 3 right there. That's it.
yeah.
Good job.
Fellas.
Yeah.
That's it. Podcast is over. Shout out. It's over. All right. That was it. The boys were back. We got to get Grenier next. We got to get Grenier. It won't be a heavy sports conversation.
See, according to you, that might be a tough one to get on.
He's not in LA
no one knows
that
where he
much.
is.
Yeah. He could be pretty remote for a lack of a word. But we'll get him on. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Emmanuel. Maybe
We'll get
even Kevin
Emmanuel
down
on.
the road. Who knows?
Yeah. Let's do it, man. That was fun.
And again, if you want, go to our YouTube or on any of our social media at Throwbacks. Matt's audition with Connolly and Dillon, basically directing him for draft day, is on there. And our 3-point shootout, the score was settled, unfortunately for one of us, is up there right now. Thanks to the boys. And listen to Victory if you can. Give those boys a download too. I'll be jumping on there soon. And we'll be back next week, right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Go USA.
Peace.
Go USA,
Let's go.
right?
I wore red, white, and blue today. It's SMU.
Let's go. We out.